Welcome back to Collider Live, the best show on the damn YouTube.
Jeez. I don't remember mine.
Okay.
Come sing to
You were
Sigma Alpha Epsilon.
Letting you in the behind the curtain for a quick second.
Feel so left out.
I'm Roxy Striar, and I, was chanting my sorority song right before we went on.
Fight on.
Fight on, baby. It was awkward, and it was great. The most evil girl across from me, Dorina.
Buenos dias.
That
How are you doing,
smile
Roxy?
says it all right now.
Well, I can't not smile because you're in front of my face every day. So it's not that I wasn't smiling for Christian, but you just make me smile more.
Literally the nicest thing anyone ever said to me. That guy who is highly doubting you right now, Josh Macuga.
Hi. That was like the lamest hi.
What
ever.
happened?
I don't know. What did I do?
I don't know. I've never heard you do it before.
A very reserved
Hello.
Josh
Yeah.
Macuga
Hello.
today.
Yeah. What do you make of that, Mark
Are you-
Reilly? What do you make of it?
I'm pink.
I didn't realize.
That's what I make of it.
I
You
forgot
look
my
really good in
smoothie
pink,
at
though.
home.
You do look good in pink, man.
I like
Yeah,
it.
this
So-
is just for Jane Seymour. I mean,
Yeah, let's be honest.
It looks really
yeah,
good.
I wore a
It does.
shirt for Jane Seymour.
Yeah.
Were
Yeah.
you that upset by yesterday's screaming that you today just decided to be super subdued, Josh?
Are you exhausted from the Martin Scorsese energy throughout yesterday?
No. I think I forgot my smoothie, which is a bummer. It's usually like my drink to work.
Yeah.
I know.
Thank you,
I know. It's what white people problems here, guys.
Cody Hall in the booth with that amazing noise. Thank you. And Alex
Hey.
Marzoña as
Going.
well.
I just watched the season finale of Mayans on FX, and I'm very all over the place. And I was not very impressed by the This Is Us episode last night. And when I don't like the episode,
Have
it kind of
not watched yet.
when it all
What's your favorite show right now, Josh?
on television.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really loved this season of Jack Ryan a lot.
Okay.
The Amanda
Downton
and I
Abbey.
we've been watching a lot of Downton Abbey, and I got to be say I'm kind of obsessed with it. Amanda and I say Downton Abbey phrases to each other. But I mean, right now Watchmen is crushing. I mean,
It really is.
That's
So good.
that's my
I'm
like.
sorry. I
on the
can't
DVR.
move forward. You say Downton Abbey phrases to each other?
Yeah, because they speak old to it. Like they have like this old way of saying like the one night or the one episode. Exactly. They're like when they get upset.
they speak old.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They speak old in
They
British.
speak old in British.
You people are stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Like the one night they were in bed. Who the guy that plays Legion, Dan Stevens, who was the Beast,
Yes.
he's still in the show.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
only in season 3.
Michael Crawley or whatever his name is.
Dan
He's
Stevens.
Michael Crawley.
Michael,
yeah, he's Michael Crawley.
the character, yeah.
Yes, and then Mary, who's played by Michelle Dockery, they're in
Oh,
bed
yeah.
and she says to him like, "Kiss me before I get cross." Like then, so
Right,
I like
right.
say that kind of weird stuff to him. And he's like, "What am I gonna say? Kiss me before I get cross." So like,
Oh,
it's
my
just,
So
like,
is that how you and
funny.
Amanda
mouse.
talk to each other now?
Now
So
we're just
weird.
my lady, my lord. Yes.
Well,
Her
I
ladyship.
don't know if you actually saw this morning because you were hustling to get here,
Good God.
but it's not Downton Abbey that caught my eye. It was something way fucking weirder, guys. This was the weirdest bit of news to wake up to. I get THR reports on my phone.
Yep.
I don't know if any of you guys do that,
No,
which
I hate
clearly makes me
I hate
so pro.
notifications.
No, there's something about it
What
that
a
makes me
what a
feel like
journalist
I'm
nerd.
in the know.
Yeah.
Like anybody could do this. Anybody, anywhere. I get
Right.
400 emails a day from the Hollywood Reporter, and it makes me feel somehow like I'm doing my job, which is like literally
you.
anybody could do it.
I
but
have eliminated all push notifications on my phone. The only thing that I want is text.
Same.
That's it.
Yeah.
no, it comes through email.
Oh.
It's an I get emails of their articles every time they publish
That's a
one.
lot of emails.
So silly.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's great in situations like this because I wake up to James Dean is starring in a new movie. And I was like,
holy crap, he came back from the dead.
no.
No,
James
the James Dean.
Yeah.
So I was like, obviously.
And not zombie James Dean. Like we're not getting like a cool horror movie or
Yeah.
anything like that.
No, it's not zombie James Dean. So I was like, I'm obviously clicking on this article
Yeah.
because what the actual fuck? Like, what is this? So, Reilly, our amazing newsman, what is this? What is happening with James Dean?
Well, the Skynet is getting closer and closer to being reality. They're going to CGI James Dean and put him in a movie as a secondary lead. Not the lead, but a secondary lead.
Support.
So
14.
now, not only are robots taking our jobs in manufacturing and all over the world, but robots are now taking acting jobs from people.
And disrespecting the kind of
The
disrespecting the
legacy?
legacy of these
Yeah.
actors. Like, what is that? What is it? Are we all old now? Like, are we just are we not
don't-
with the times? Because I can't get over this. I
I
can't.
haven't been out there clamoring for a new James Dean movie.
Okay, well, that's where you and I differ, sir.
Yeah,
like,
because
man,
that
that
is
would be
where we
great as the lead in
differ.
Star
The
Wars.
only
a
way
hologram
I
James
would-
Dean.
no.
Right.
The only way I would be happy with this is if they put James Dean and Paul Newman in a movie together, and they made like a sequel to Call Me by Your Name. Other than that, I'm not interested in CG.
Can I say that I actually
So
think
you want them banging each other?
Yes.
Yeah, they used to
that is
flirt with
what
each
she
other.
wants. Are you surprised?
There's actually a rumor
No,
that
yeah.
they used to do stuff.
I'm sure they did.
There's a rumor that they had a threesome with Eartha Kitt. So there you
Did
go.
you make the rumor up?
No, I read about it. Look it up. I
Is
swear
this
the
also
Hollywood
called
Reporter's written
Dorina's
something about it.
Dreams?
Yes. Yes.
I
It is
think-
bookmarked.
I think I
actually.
feel differently about this than you guys actually do. I'm not mad about this news. I'm trying to deal with it. Like, I will give credit where credit is due. Christian Harloff sat in this seat not very long ago and said
Yeah.
they are going to start putting people in movies
Yeah,
that
he
are
did
not
say that.
appearing
He
on set.
Yep.
But he didn't necessarily say dead people. He was just saying, like, yo, if you want to sit at home on your couch, we'll pay you to use your name and likeness anyway.
Right.
Or afterwards,
Via-
talking to the estate. He did talk about this.
Or
And-
de-aging people like we've seen in The Irishman and that, yeah.
But I
for sure.
don't think any of us thought when he said this will happen in the future was now. This is 2019, and I was expecting this to be at least 2030. Like, I was waiting at least
does
another
this, like-
decade.
I mean, did you
I'm
guys...
not going to go see it.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
No, I won't.
What if it's good?
Because I don't want to watch a fucking hologram. I
No.
want to watch. I have trouble with animation.
That's the
You're telling me
thing.
I'm getting
I
a James
don't-
Dean hologram?
It's
I
like-
drive past James Dean every time I drive up to Amanda's mom and dad's place on the 46, right, or whatever freeway that is between the 5 and the 101. And you drive right past where he died, and they have like a restaurant. And there's like a whole James Dean museum. You see him out there. He's got his cigarette. It's an homage to the past. You can go back and watch James Dean movies. You can watch
Correct.
Paul
There's only
Newman
like
movies.
6 of them. Big Josh energy.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
it's
But
so
but I
stupid.
am actually in agreement with you this time
Yes.
because no, I see what you're saying, Roxy, because we have to as humans evolve and change with the times. I understand that, but this is just bizarre to me because it's the same thing as when we saw Carrie Fisher.
Is it the same thing? Because they were in the middle of a trilogy.
Same
Right,
thing
right.
as Lydia Soprano in season 3 of The Sopranos because she died in between seasons 2 and
Right.
3.
And so that or Tarkin.
It's not the same as any of those, though, guys. This is a
Yeah.
new movie.
Can I read
decades
a quote?
later.
Can I read a quote that
Okay.
might help with this?
Sure.
Because it's ridiculous, in my opinion. We searched high and low for the perfect character to portray the role of Rogan, which has some extreme complex character arcs. And after months of research, we decided on James Dean. You mean you searched high and low and decided on a dead guy?
I
That's
don't
just ridiculous.
understand
There are actors
No,
out there
I think what
that
they're-
can do this, and that, like, I
Is there
understand.
going to be a
and
guy
they're-
impersonating
they're
James
going to-
Dean in a VO?
They are
then
going to
hologram
use
him?
actual footage, CGI, full body CGI, using actual footage and photos of the actor, but another actor will voice him. And maybe another actor will be the body stand-in. So they are literally recreating James Dean because
motion
he was the
capture.
best choice for this role.
I guess it's look,
As an actor, you
deepfake
got to feel like a
technology.
piece of shit. Look, you can't compete with a fucking dead hologram.
But that's my point. Nobody's going to be able to. You know what? We searched
Excuse my
high and
language.
low, and we decided on Cary Grant for the
Dorina-
role of so-and-so.
Go ahead. What were you
Look,
saying?
With deepfake technology, things are changing. It's crazy what's being done. I mean, Collider's been doing some great deepfake stuff
Yes.
with the George Lucas thing.
Now you're just getting trigger happy.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
is it even for anymore, Cody?
it's
Well,
promoting
I'm also
the-
plugging. I'm plugging. I'm helping our channel. But the issue with me there is that that's being used for like comedy sketches, right? Like that's different for me. I feel like if you're making a whole new movie, I don't understand the need to do this unless the movie revolves around the technology, right? Like if you're going to do like a Ready or Not type a franchise where you're bringing back all these dead celebrities, then yeah, sure, do that. But for this, why don't you just get another actor that's alive? That's
So,
what I don't get it.
Am I the only person who would like to see James Dean on screen in a new movie?
Yes. And for me, yes.
It just depends on the pitch,
I'm
and
going
this
to go
doesn't
full Martin
interest me.
Scorsese
Reilly?
on this.
You have
sorry.
no interest in seeing James Dean in a movie, a new movie.
I have pretty much zero interest in it because I don't like that we are doing this. That it's like we searched high and low for the perfect actor and we decided on a dead guy.
Cody,
I can't do that.
Cody, am I the only one still?
I think so.
Alex?
Yeah.
All right, so Roxy stands alone. It's the first time ever, guys, that I have a different
Like,
opinion. Here's what I'm thinking, though. I do want to bring opportunities to all different kinds of people, including myself. As an actress, if I went in for an audition and I didn't book the role and Marilyn Monroe booked it over me and she's been dead for decades, I'd be like, well, I'm not great. I really didn't. But I think
Can you imagine the actors that audition for this role and they read this article and it's like... fucking Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know. I'm just saying.
And I get that. And what they should have said was, we didn't audition or look anywhere because we knew from writing the script we were writing it for James Dean.
Right.
That would have made me feel a little better about it because otherwise, poor actors out there. But at the same time, anybody who's part of this 27 club, and there's so many people, and it keeps coming up. The people who are dying before they're 30, and they're so talented.
Janis Joplin,
Amy Winehouse and Jimi Hendrix, everybody, but even anybody who's just under 30, even under, at this point, 60, but like anybody who's dying that young, who is that talented, I want to see more of. And the fact that we finally have technology today that can make us see more of them, no, it's not actually them, but maybe it's similar to what they could have done or how they could have portrayed. And if his estate is okay with it, which clearly they are, because otherwise it wouldn't be happening.
Right.
Then
so that's,
I'm kind of interested. I'm not saying I'm obsessed with it, but I'm kind of interested.
But they're using their. I see what you're saying, and I hear you, and I think that also depends on like if you guys think about it, like whoever is actually like an actor in this room. I'm not, right? But you guys are. So how would you feel if you came back from the dead, if you were your own ghost, and they use your likeness, because they're not coming back here and saying, oh yes, we're gonna get the James Dean that we all know. They're using his likeness, right? So they're gonna get an actor. It's not going to be James Dean in the actual movie. It's not gonna be the James Dean we all knew. That's they can't do that no matter what technology they get.
Right, but to answer your question, how would I feel? Yeah. Right, I'm 28, so similar, but if I died, like I walked out of here, I got hit by a car. Or whatever. Anybody can die in any way.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think about
I was
it
making a joke about it.
Okay.
You're so goth today, Josh. I love it.
Totally.
Except the pink. The pink is the screaming goth.
No.
I would hope that you guys would CGI me into everything for the rest of time. Like, I would like to be in everything. If I die today and there's not a movie with me starring in it, I'm pissed at you guys because you did not fucking do your jobs.
Listen, I'm not a great actor. Okay, that's clear and present danger. You guys have seen Plasterhead. Okay,
Clear and Present Danger.
Great movie.
I love that.
I'm a little Jack Ryan.
Really hot Jack Ryan in that movie.
So what I'm saying is, like, when I hear stories of like, Amelia Clark had to act at a tennis ball because that's what the dragon was, I was like, that sounds terrible. Okay. Yeah. Second of all, I'm in a scene with a guy in a black onesie covered in white balls, and I'm like, hey, so this is supposed to be James Dean. Go fuck yourself. I'd rather have like Donnie McBride, whatever.
Danny.
McBride. No. I'd rather have like
You're trying to make up a name.
Old Eddie Curtains over here, coming around being like, hey, so this is my first movie. I'd rather get that than like, hey, so we're gonna hologram fucking James Dean in here, because I'm not like out there. Because here's the thing: you go into pitch rooms, and we've all been in pitch rooms before where you have scripts, and they're like, so who do you think we could get for the role of this? And like, who'd be great in this role? Elizabeth Banks. And then somebody's like, what if we fucking hologram James Dean in there? I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hologram James Dean in my movie.
But on the other side of that, I get as an actor it would be more difficult to act against a
tennis ball?
Curtain. Thank you, by the way, for the Eddie Curtain Google search. But I believe if I had the opportunity to be in a movie with James Dean, I don't give a fuck what I'm acting up against. I'm in a movie with goddamn James Dean.
You're not in a movie
but
with
you're
James
not,
Dean.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
You're gonna be
No,
acting.
you're not.
You're gonna be
I
acting.
Roxy, guess what?
Roxy. The way it would actually happen, it'd be like Andy Serkis. You'd be acting with a person. It'd be like that Beauty and the Beast amazing photo that we get of Dan Stevens in that ridiculous giant suit.
Yeah.
Where he's walking down the stairs with Emma Watson, and it's the most hilarious picture ever.
When
It'd be like that.
When you're watching it at home, Roxy Striar starring alongside James Dean.
Do you think they're going to be looking
it's
at you?
not.
They're going to be looking
They're
at
going to go like, who is that dumb
Hey,
idiot?
there it is. I love that.
And
That is
guess
so
what?
funny.
This move is going to eclipse everything. Eclipse the story, eclipse the other actors in this movie. It's all going to be about James Dean being a CGI ghost acting in front of everybody.
And for the first of its kind, I'm okay with that.
All right.
I know that
Fair enough.
we're
I haven't
opening
really
the
said this
floodgates.
before. I haven't really said this before on the show before. I've said like, "Hey, you should get the joke" or whatever. You sound stupid. you sound like a big dumb idiot.
I'm curious. Here's the thing. I saw.
I'm sorry. You do.
I saw.
It is an illusion.
It is.
Fuck you.
Like 99.99% of people, like you're in a movie with a hologram James Dean.
All right, let
It's
me
like
ask
you're
you
in a
this.
student film with a guy with a James Dean mask going like, "Oh look, ribbon without a cause."
Let
Look
me
at
ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. When everything started with the musician hologram movement, and I remember being at Coachella maybe 6 years ago,
Tupac.
and Tupac came on stage, and people lost their motherfucking minds.
Because they thought
like-
it was Tupac, because the world thinks that Tupac isn't dead.
I was there, and we did not think it was Tupac.
Because you're on drugs.
Wouldn't that make me think it was Tupac?
Maybe, I don't know. I
Fair
like drugs
point.
too. What the fuck?
I also not wrong, but I remember everybody being like, "Wow!" And then holograms with musicians blew up.
Right.
Yeah.
People seem to be predominantly excited about that. For this, I'm looking at Twitter. People seem to be not excited about
Right.
this. What is the difference between going to a hologram concert and seeing a hologram movie?
Because it's live.
And not even a hologram movie, a CGI movie.
Because it's live. Because if you seeing Tupac at Coachella, it's just a
But-
once in a lifetime. You saw it there. It's not recorded. It's different than
movies
than,
are never live, though.
Yeah, I know, but so a movie is actually not just going to be released in theaters. There's going to be DVDs. There's going to be this like movie legacy of all of these dead celebrity hologram movies now. Like that, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what we're getting
Here's
now,
the
and we
thing.
have no say in it. But I'm not. I just am not interested.
If I went to a live taping of a podcast, let's just say it was like, Dan Patrick's show that he has in the audience where he interviews people for like an hour, okay? And you go out there on the stage like, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome James Dean."
Right.
And a hologram of James Dean came out and Dan Patrick asked a hologram of James Dean some questions. I think that'd be pretty cool. Seeing a movie with James Dean just like acting around, that doesn't do it for me. Seeing a hologram of Tupac, I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. He's singing like his old songs.
Because you're on
and they're
drugs.
Yes, but also 99% of the times you're at a concert, you're either drunk or on drugs. I don't really go to concerts with people that are sober. I'm sorry, that's not a concert for me. I go to concert, I get hammered, I smoke some weed. That's what you're supposed to do at a concert. That's what music is for. That's why music was invented. Music was invented to entertain people. Then drugs were invented, and everybody like, holy shit, together, music and drugs is awesome.
I do feel like music was invented as an outlet for people,
Yes.
who didn't have other resources necessarily, and they had their voice. It was a beautiful thing to start, but
I mean,
also for weed and drugs.
Yes.
You are both correct.
Yes, it's
I
both.
agree with
Okay,
both.
I guarantee you, the first time like the harpsichord is played in George Washington's home out there in Mount Vernon, Martha walks in. She's like, "We shit his spliff." He has like, "Holy shit, music is that much better. Everybody should get high."
Did
And
you say we
unfortunately,
shit a spliff?
we
Share a split.
Share a
A
spliff.
split. Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
is spliff
that
lingo
sound like-
for weed?
Yeah, I
No,
mean, it's
weed,
like a
weed
joint.
and tobacco mixed together. It's called a spliff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You never heard of spliff?
No, I learn new English
delicious.
idioms and words every day.
I
Yeah. You're
fucking
welcome.
hate spliffs.
Really?
Yeah,
They're not
because
great.
people pass them to you like it's weed, and it's not. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I
Okay.
really don't like that out
Roxy,
of people.
guys.
And
Guys,
important safety
Roxy is
tip. Thank you,
anti-spliff.
Roxy.
That's my
What
thoughts
if
on spliffs.
James Dean is ripping a spliff in this new movie, like Donnie Curtains in the Revenge of the
What if
Hologram?
hologram James Dean gave you a spliff? Would you smoke it with him?
Yes.
See, it's just-
I can't.
Clearly, my answer is yes.
I can't do it.
I am curious
with you.
because we are all in the entertainment space, but we have an amazing guest coming on today, Jane Seymour.
Holy
who
shit.
is- definitely will have more thoughts on all these things and all the other things. I
I-
can't believe she's in the room next to me right now. I can't.
That's why I was texting.
I can't possibly explain to you guys how
What?
obsessed I am with this human being.
Yeah.
No, we understand, Roxy, because we're all
This is
obsessed
going to
with
be
human
one
beings.
giant like fangirl, fanboy moment out.
Yeah.
Like I told Amanda, I was like, "Hey, so we have Jane Seymour on the show today." She's like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Oh yeah, I told Julie.
Yeah.
Julie
Lost her
today
mind.
just brought up some movies. She went,
Yeah.
"What?" Because we literally watched Wedding Crashers like
All
a
the
month ago,
time.
and that's like one of her favorite parts.
She's a fucking legend, man.
She's
I'm
a legend.
so excited to talk to
She's
her.
a legend. I was reading an
Yeah.
article that said you know how old somebody is based off of how they know Jane Seymour
a
because
pretty good
like
question.
everybody knows her from something completely different. But for me, it really was Wedding Crashers is like the thing that got me hooked on her.
I mean, I'm going to ask it's probably not even going to be an awkward question. It's going to be an awkward comment of like, do you realize that you were responsible for the sexual awakening of an 11-year-old boy in Pittsburgh the first time he turned on Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman who was like,
Oh, yeah.
I like turned to my dad. I was like, is that how hot all doctors were in the Old West? And my dad's like, no, it's not how it is.
I mean, I think she was everyone's sexual awakening.
Yeah, I'll give
Her
you-
and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 words: Somewhere in Time.
That was your.
Followed
her and Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve over because Superman guy, right?
Yeah.
And that was when I remember being with my high school girlfriend at the time who loved this movie, and
You know what's funny is you can ask her a very cool question about James Dean because she was in East of Eden, and James Dean's for like one of his only movies that he was in was East of Eden.
I would love to ask her what she thinks of this hologram situation.
Yeah.
Josh with
different
that
one.
knowledge.
10% professional.
Hold on a
No,
minute.
he's saying it's different, but he's saying by the same title.
Same
Right.
title.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Sorry.
No,
I
that's
started
60s or
going.
80s.
Movies, yeah.
No, but you know what's interesting? In this article about James Dean, they start talking about what other figures they can
Exactly.
resurrect, and one of them is Christopher Reeve that they're listing here. They want to do this.
But we have
So
to
I
get her
wouldn't
thoughts
be
on that
surprised.
because they were really close friends, and I've heard her talk a lot about after his accident and talking to him and really just being there for him for a really long time. So I'm curious what she would think about her friend
Being hologrammed.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Be-
not
like
hologram-
being put into
being put-
like
I
Warner Brothers
almost-
decides to say no Man of Steel 2. We're going to make another Superman movie with Christopher Reeve.
I almost feel like now, you know how on our license you are an organ donor or you're not?
Mm-hmm.
You make these decisions beforehand. Now I feel like as long as actors now know.
Don't hologram me.
So yeah, everybody, I just think every performer, musician, actor, whatever it is, can say now to their people, hey, after I die,
Right.
I don't want to be hologrammed, or I do want to be hologrammed,
Yeah.
or only hologram me if you are not doing well financially and need to make a little extra money. Like, I'm sure some people feel
Right,
that
right,
way.
yeah, totally
Crispin
agree.
Glover talked about how in Back to the Future 2 and 3 they like put makeup on a guy's face. He didn't like the choices. I guarantee you there are actors out there like, don't hologram me. I don't want Johnny Curtains to come in and be like, I'm gonna do a James Dean impression.
But that
It's literally
wasn't-
not the person.
But that wasn't
It's
him.
not, it's not
the
him.
person.
That was
It's the
literally
thing.
another person.
I know it's the Curtains family: Eddie, Johnny, Danny.
But this isn't another person. It's him.
It's a person doing a voice impression of James
Correct.
Dean in a motion capture
It
suit.
is not James Dean. It's going to
It's
look
James
like
Dean.
James Dean. No, it's not, Roxy. It is not
it is
James
not.
Dean.
Roxy,
It is
I'm not-
virtual James Dean is
don't
not
know that.
real
I'm not the
James
host
Dean.
of this show. I'm not the host of this show. But if
Zombie
I was,
corpse James Dean would be more James Dean than hologram CG
I would suspend
James
you
Dean.
from being the host of the show.
Why do you want to suspend me? Because I just want to believe, like Tinkerbell?
No.
Okay.
Because you're making us sound stupid.
Us clapping our hands
'Cause you're
is
saying
not
this
going to
on a
bring
show
James Dean back.
We're all involved in that you support a hologram
Joshua!
James
I'm
Dean.
I'm not
motion
gonna say.
capture.
I'm not gonna say I believe in fairies because I disagree with you. So you're gonna stay dead. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we can't. We can't clap our hands and bring James Dean back, and that it's just a
Is
weird
there
thing.
no celebrity that you want to bring back in a movie? Hologram.
Look,
Not one.
It depends on the pitch, right? If it's the pitch they just gave me, I have no interest in. If they're
All right.
specifically making something cool where they're honoring all these celebrities on some concert, like whatever's going on, like sure, do that for the.
Do you
if
remember
they
that
do it
Pepsi-
well.
are
that Super
all
Bowl?
holograms to me.
Do you
We
remember
are
that-
all
I'm
holograms.
actually
and we
so
could know.
home. I'm a forced
Yeah.
projection
Yeah.
here. So.
Do you remember
We could
this-
all be a simulation.
The
just saying.
Pepsi commercial in the Super Bowl a few
Yes.
years back when they were all sitting around and it was like
Right.
live action Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, those
Right.
like the famous dead celebrities. That was pretty cool. It was a
Right.
30-second commercial of
Correct.
like from their thing. Great. I
Done.
don't need to see Roxy being like, James, no! And James Dean hologram's like, I like my fib. I'm James Dean. Look at hologram. And then everybody, the whole movie just
I
be like,
wanna see
oh,
that.
I saw. Oh,
Why
I
does
saw-
he talk like that? And what does he say about meth?
No, he's I'm James Dean hologram. Look at me, movie, la la la.
I'll watch that though.
All right, something
you do it.
something we can all agree on because clearly we're not going to come to a consensus here because we're very split. We're 50-50 down the middle
Sure.
on,
Nope,
on
we
this
sure
one.
are not,
Some people are on one side, other
Nope.
people
This
are
This is
on
like the world with you and cheese.
I'm gonna
99%
build
of
a
the
wall.
world likes cheese. Even the lactose intolerant.
So the
like
Mexican
cheese.
gets to be in the wall, and the Jew does not at this point.
Get
And that's
out.
the way that it is. Guys, Jane Seymour, we're all excited for. We're going to be talking to her when we come back, so don't move.
There it is.
Sorry, Cody, should have
I
given
think-
you more
Cody,
warning on
give
that
Cody
one.
the
It's
win.
okay. Just gonna.
I felt like I was gearing up to it with my
Wait for
transition.
it. Wait for it. All right, we're
in
going on break
5.
now. All right. Hey guys, it's Perry here to let you know that Movie Talk is moving. We've had a great time in this 3 p.m. Pacific slot, but guess what? We want you to start your day with Collider Movie Talk, so we're moving. 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get a longer show with some brand new segments, so tune in starting Monday, September 16th, 9 a.m. Pacific. See you there.
Hey everyone, John Rocha here, the host of Collider Sports Time. Well, you know, if you've been watching us every week, you know we break down the latest and the greatest in the world of sports, talk about the big issues, the big games, all of it with a rotating band of guests like Matt Nose and Josh Macuga. We've had Taylor Bisciotti on. We've had so many great guests. Now, if you want to see more of Sports Time or you want to try it out for the first time, remember to subscribe to Collider Sports YouTube channel for all the sports goodness.
Hey guys, it's Reilly here. Let me tell you about the Reilly Roundtable. You know it, right? It drops every Thursday on Collider Conversations, and I have guests from all across the space. John Rocha, Gray Drake, Alexander Desplat came on at one point. We talk everything from movies, we talk about life, and everything in between. What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? It's the Reilly Roundtable every Thursday on Collider Conversations. You get it there.
Hi, I'm Coy Jandro, host of Collider Heroes, and I'm here to tell you we've got 20-minute episodes coming at you on Collider Video on the YouTube as you've always loved it. Plus, now we've got hour-long podcasts dropping every Thursday, so make sure to subscribe to the podcast because it's going to get even more sweaty on the podcast. Plus, every week, we're going to try to get some very special guest interviews, all of the people that help shape these movies and TV shows you love. So, video, podcast, interviews, all coming at you. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. Stay sweaty.
What's up, Collider fans? Ryan Satin here from ProWrestlingSheet.com, where you can find the top stories throughout the week in the world of professional wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan like myself, then you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not checking out all the shows we do every week on YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. In particular, on Wednesdays, we've got a SmackDown recap show hosted by John Rocha and myself, where we pick apart and talk about every little thing that happened on the Blue Brand.
Hey,
so do
everyone,
yourself a favor and go subscribe at youtube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet.
Okay.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. You looking for a Star Wars fix? Well, Rule of Two is that show. It drops on Collider Video's main YouTube channel, as well as on Podcast One's Jedi Council feed. So go over there, subscribe, share it with your friends. It's hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. We talk everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of deep dives and a lot of conversations that go all in. You know what to do. Subscribe, join us there, and rise.
Hey everyone, John Rocha here, the host of Collider Mailbag. A new episode drops every Saturday and Sunday in your face and in your ears, answering the questions from you fans about the world of entertainment, film, and television. Me and great guests from our sphere do the best to answer your questions from Twitter, from Instagram, and of course, email as well, every Saturday and Sunday.
Hi, I'm Amy Dallin, one of the hosts of Collider Heroes, and starting right now, you can catch our show Tuesday nights with a new Collider Heroes and a longer Collider Heroes podcast, where Coy and I are gonna talk your ears off. You already know that's coming. So make sure to go to YouTube, subscribe, and find us on the Collider Heroes podcast feed for all of that sweaty goodness.
The Witching Hour is all over Collider right now. You can listen to that Horrorville podcast with myself, with Haley Fouch. We talk about witchiness, we talk about slashers, we talk about space horror, you name it, all on that show on the Collider Factory feed. And on top of that, you can find an article all about Witching Hour every single Tuesday on Collider.com. Check it out, get scared. Hopefully you survive the Witching Hour.
Welcome back to Collider Live. We are here today with somebody who doesn't even know what she just got herself into because of how much we are massive, massive super fans of you. It's Jane Seymour in the house today.
Thank you.
Well, you have had just the most incredible life and career. The more that I was learning about you, the more that I realized that you could write 400 more books than you've written, between everything with your mom and your son, and then also you've won Emmys. You've been in some of the biggest movies
Golden
ever.
Globes.
You're a huge part of the Me Too movement and moving women forward in Hollywood. So I wanted to ask you, of all of the things, everything that you've accomplished, is there one that you feel like you always want to be thought of for the most?
Being authentic.
That's
Being
it.
authentic. So just for being
It's
you.
pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yes, I have 6 kids and 6 grandchildren, and I remember when they were going off to college and whatever, and the normal thing. Your parent doesn't understand, only you know, and all that kind of stuff. At some point, when they put down whatever it is they were looking at, rather than spending time with me, they sat down and they looked me in the eye and they said, "What's the most important thing in life, Mom?" And I went, quick answer. I said, just be authentic. I said, if you're authentically you, then anything you say, do, perform, anything anyone expects you to be, you're not hiding anything. It's just who you are. They may not like it. They may not dig it, But, and I think the other thing is, as an actress, that's a passion for me. It's also a job. But it's an amazing job where I get to take on, another person's character and situation. And if I'm not a blank canvas, and if I'm not receptive and able to communicate through my body, my face, and my movements and everything, I'm no good at what I'm doing. So again, even though you're playing somebody else, you have to do it authentically. So, I have a son who's a singer-songwriter who's amazing, and everyone said, "Oh, we're going to make you a star," or whatever, and he went, "No, I want to be authentic." Like, okay, well, let's hear the music soon, okay?
Well, it is interesting to hear you say that too, though, because I feel like you're in an industry of a lot of inauthentic people.
Yes, that's what's been going on, and I think that's the crazy part is people keep saying, well, you're nearly 69 and you're working all the time. I mean, wait a minute, nobody is, especially females. Mm-hmm. And you have all these design companies. I design furniture and jewelry, and I paint for a living.
And you sculpt, and you're an author, and all of the things.
And more important, I'm running a non-profit, and I've got really exciting things that we're doing now.
Open Heart Foundation.
But now my daughter, who's 37, Katie Flynn, came up with this brilliant idea, which we're actually actively doing now for young hearts. It's going to be like a dating app, but instead of dating, it'll be non-profits that have specific needs in terms of volunteers, and volunteers with specific skills. Duh.
My wife was asked me this morning, how do we, I want to volunteer.
Well, I'm doing it. We're doing it.
It's amazing.
We're building the app as we speak, and we have partners who wanted to go and do this globally. So, if you wanted to go and volunteer in Africa, you'd be able to do it. So I'm very excited. I have a very, very full life. I don't just do one thing. And
sounds exhausting.
And but my kids have all come into their own, and I think am I proud of something? I think I'm proud of them. I'm proud of who they are as people, and the fact that we're now all working together, making amazing things happen. And so I feel relevant because they're 23. Some of them are 23, and the others are mid-30s, and I just feel like all the generations are all happening in my house. So,
have you always felt, though, do you get to a point where now you seem extremely confident in what you do and how you feel about yourself? And speaking of authenticity, is there an age or that you just said, what, I don't care what people think, I'm just going to be myself? How did you, accomplish that? Because that's hard for a lot of people, especially in entertainment space, to be themselves.
I think it kind of happened after Wedding Crashers. I kind of broke the mold, and I went, you know what? I'm not going to worry about what people think, because the characters I play are characters. They're not me. And if I think something's funny and it's really well done, then I'm going to be part of that. Same thing with what I'm doing now with Kominsky. I mean, they said, "Oh, you're not old enough." I said, "Yes, I am, in a grey wig. Trust me, I can pull this one off." I mean, I feel also confident in a strange way, having gone through some horrible divorces, and
because you've been married and divorced 4 times.
Yeah, the first 2 were, in this day and age, you would just say, "Oh yeah, we're hooked up." Yeah. They don't really count. No children, and they didn't last very long. And they're still my closest friends. They're like my brothers.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I
really?
see them all the time, and I adore them.
So you don't consider those the hard divorces? It was after that.
At the time, it was hard. But the 2 where I had children and we were together for a long time, and I always kind of gave up my power. I always thought, a man is supposed to know better than me. He should be deciding what shows I should be doing. He should be managing the money. He should be deciding what we do. And now it's like, nah. the last time I just said, I'm doing this myself. I went and got my own car. I was paying for everything anyway. I got my own lawyer. I got my own accountant. I said, I'm going to do my own business. And I'm not afraid to try things. I think if there's a message here is if you have a passion for something, there's a million people who say, oh, you can't do that, or it'll never work, or whatever. I just figure go for it. And in this day and age, especially with this kind of omni-channel approach,
very true.
There are people who are interested in what we're talking about right now, and they will find us. And the people who aren't interested in it just won't be here.
Going back to what you were
said.
talking about with feeling like men knew what was right.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that your mom was in a Japanese internment camp for 3.5 years in Indonesia, and just seemed like the most incredible, badass woman. When you were growing up, did she raise you, or were you raised in a way where men were the people that made the decision, or where did that come from?
Well, I thought that men were making a decision, as in my father, who was an intellectual and a great OBGYN. He was a fellow of the Royal College and the rest of it. But no, he went away, he did his work, he did his surgery, he came back, sat in his chair, and we all took care of him. And then I found out that my mother was the one that was supposedly, running the business of everything and cooking for, 1 minute it's 4 of us, the next minute it was 24. And it never fazed her. Her whole thing was there would always be enough food. It would whatever we had turned into a rice dish if necessary. And I think, she ran a business from the house, and it never occurred to me that moms didn't run businesses. I didn't really know what her business was, but she was supplying wine, spirits, and tobacco to the embassies out of a little tiny house.
Wow.
And she had 2 secretaries. One was a woman who was married to a very abusive Irishman next door who beat her up all the time. So she came to work in our house. And the other was a Dutchman who had webbed hands and feet and had 3 usable digits and could type faster than anyone.
Was he a good swimmer?
You would have been a good swimmer. That's you see, that is so wonderfully inappropriate. I love it.
He was a swimmer, so
but
he knows.
And as a man, I don't want to make decisions. I'd rather leave it. My wife makes the decisions. I'll be honest. I love it. It's great.
That's what I saw, and and I think I'm just was still so kind of old fashioned in feeling like men. That was what they were supposed to be doing, and then I realized, no, I earned all the money. I'm the one creating the businesses. I'm out there promoting them. And I'm spending, I should be involved with what's going on here.
Another thing great about that is Josh and I are obsessed with Kominsky Method. We love the show. Dorina too.
My parents are coming into town tomorrow, and the first thing they want to do is go to Musso and Frank, based off Kominsky Method.
We love it, but your character on the show is somebody who clearly knows what she wants and is going after what she wants. Do you feel like it took your life energy to get to that role? Like you wouldn't have been able to actually do that at a different point in time?
Absolutely. I know, and I was talking with Chuck Lorre because he writes it as he goes, so you don't know if you're in the next episode or not. You don't. Nobody knows.
Holy cow.
And I, my life sort of almost mirrored what's been happening with Madeline. I mean, I went through a horrible divorce, and 6 years ago I was devastated. I went, oh gosh, not again. And after 24 years together, how could this be? What's wrong with me? And then randomly I ran into an old, somebody I'd known 38 years ago who I was supposed to work with. We'd never been romantically involved like Madeline, but, the whole idea of he had a long marriage and kids, I had a long marriage and kids, and now we're together and we're kind of wrangling life together, which is new and fun, but we both have backgrounds and baggage from our lives and kids and, in my case, grandchildren. And, how do you do all of that? But I could never have come to Madeline without having been through all the ups and downs and the mileage. I mean, it's mileage and baggage,
Absolutely.
And would you consider, because we're basically talking about emotional maturity that some actors you can exude on the screen, right? Like that you just know that you've either lived through these things or through this pain, and you can understand the character, and that's why you're so good at it, and everyone on this show. So, do you think that is there, whether it's this particular role or another role, that you thought, oh, this was actually kind of almost therapeutic for me?
I tend to pick pieces that I feel are therapeutic for me. Some area or some angle. I won't take a role unless I feel like I can really do a good job with it and have affinity for it. So And this character, I just thought this was a great way to, go into grey hair mode and actually show that I could play an interesting adult. I'm at that stage of my life where I've already lost 3 or 4 of my friends, my contemporaries. People are ailing all around me, and a lot of people are kind of given up on life. And I think, if with what I do, I can let people my age go, wait a minute, it's not over. There's a next chapter. You can be your own person. You can have experiential living. I love to travel. So I'm right now, rather than worrying about, leaving my kids money or whatever it is, I just said, hey, you want to go to Venice and Rome, and I've got to go and work in Vietnam and Indonesia. Do you want to come and see what I actually do and be part of it?
That's awesome.
And oh my gosh! So I keep saying to my friends, like, if you possibly can, go on a road trip, do something one-on-one with your kids, and or if you have to work and you're in an interesting place, you never know. It might be fascinating for them to see parts of America they've never been to. Like I was in Wisconsin, in Green Lake, Wisconsin. They all came.
Cheese.
They loved it. We had the most cheese. And then we were at Mackinac Island last week.
Oh, that's where my dad was born. That's amazing.
And then I got them all to dress up in Edwardian gear, and they loved it. My rock and roll son, Johnny, he just said, hey, Mom, I'm not changing for dinner. I said, well, good luck with that one. So he goes up there and, and his torn things and jeans and whatever, and they went, a tie. and we realized it wasn't just a tie, wing collar, bowler hat.
That's great.
He went away, he came back, and he never took it off. He just went, I kind of like this look. I'm kind of digging this thing.
You mentioned earlier, and by the way, somebody that wears that jacket has not given up on anything because you're a badass.
Yeah, thank you. I love this jacket.
Really good.
It's fantastic. You mentioned Wedding Crashers earlier, and that was like one of those formative comedies for my generation for sure. And you mentioned that was when you got that script. Did it kind of like drawn to you, or did they come to you with that? Because, you're incredible in that movie.
Well, thank you. So there's a really interesting story to this, and I'm glad you asked. So I heard that I was submitted for it. In other words, a ton of actors, pretty much every actress my age that's known had tried out for this role. And I read it, and I went, oh, my God, this is the funniest thing I've ever read, and especially that scene. Yeah. But what a shame. I've just been doing Dr. Quinn. All my fan base, they'll go nuts globally. I can't do this. I read it again. Oh, it gets even funnier the second time. What a shame. I wish I could. Third time I went, what the heck? I have to. So now I go in and I have to audition. Well, I've never really auditioned in my entire life because I got plucked out of obscurity when I was 17, and I've been working ever since. So this whole idea of having a little camera there and someone saying, try out, was, I get panic attack. It was like, oh, you're watching me. Like if you give me the role and I'm on set, I am that person. So the whole audition thing I've never really studied. So there I'm auditioning. So the producer, they called me up, my agent, and they said, can the director speak to you tonight on the phone? I said, of course. So David Dobkin calls and says, look, do you think if you come back you could up the sexuality a bit? I said, well, yes, if I'm not playing opposite to another woman my own age who's a casting director who is not a guy. I said, but, it just would help. So they brought in this really hot And they said,
guys.
why don't you go into that room and
you
rehearse?
don't have to speak
and
so
I'm just
nicely
going,
about me, Jane.
I'm just going, I can't go in a room with this 6-foot-something gorgeous, very young guy. And so we rehearse and we go out and we do it and kill it, obviously. And I get the role. And the funniest thing was the producers and the director then said, you're just amazing. We loved you in Live and Let Die. Like, what did they think I've been doing for the last 35 years? I was 20 then. Really? You thought that I did one film, never worked again, and now randomly you found me.
But everybody has I would say their first introduction to Jane Seymour, right? Like that was, and for me, like a 10-year-old kid, when Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman came on my TV, I turned to my dad and goes, do all doctors in the Old West look like that? And my dad was like, they do not, son. They do not. And you mentioned, obviously Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. That was such a huge thing here in the States. And for somebody that grew up in Pittsburgh, that was our Friday night. It was Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. And then you get the role in, what was, after Wedding Crashers, what was the reaction like?
Oh, I got offered my own TV series doing Modern Men, I think it was called. Okay. It was a 3-camera comedy. But you have to understand, I was actually going to do a series, a comedy series for Paramount, which they were writing for me when I got offered Dr. Quinn. And I went to them and I said, look, what do I do? I said, I need money. I'd gone through a terrible divorce, lost everything, homeless, penniless, beyond penniless, and I needed to work. And they said, oh, we know that script. Oh, it's a lovely script, but it'll never be a series because it's a woman in the lead. It's a period piece. It's, family values, yada, 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 and a doctor too. So I said, okay, so I'll just sign and do it. She said, yep, don't worry, we'll have ours ready. So I was going to be doing comedy, and then I segued into this thing that just suddenly became hugely successful. It's still playing in 98 countries.
Wow.
Plays every day somewhere here, definitely in France, every day, all day, every day, I think, in France. And if I go to Romania, I can't move because after Ceausescu, whatever his name was deposed, that's all they saw was Dr. Quinn. I am so famous in Romania. And I've made 4 movies in Romania, and I've just been asked to go and do a fundraiser in Romania.
That's
so,
like,
it's not a bad
it's
place
like,
to be famous.
Yeah.
It's like David Hasselhoff in Germany.
Yeah.
Please don't
What do
compare
you-
Jane Seymour to
No,
David
no, no, of
Hasselhoff.
course
What
not.
was the hardest transition to get out of then? Was it people not thinking of you as just a Bond girl? Was it people not thinking of you as just doctor? Was it what was the hardest one to be like, I'm an actress, I can do more things?
well, I think right from the beginning, I was always playing characters. So after the Bond thing, I went and I played all the classics in the theatre, and everyone said, "Oh, she's failed. Another Bond girl that's never going to be heard of again." But I was playing Lady Macbeth. I was playing Nora in Ibsen's Doll's House. I was playing, I was doing my every 2 weeks another classic role in the theatre. At the same time, I was doing Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger and Our Mutual Friend. I did Dickens, I did Shakespeare, I did Goldoni, Middleton and Rowley, things you've never heard of, and then I was told in England that I looked too exotic to play the girl next door. So I was sort of kitchen
No girl
sink
next
drama.
door has ever looked like you, so-
Well, and I
At least where I
didn't,
live.
I didn't sound right. So I took like this if I want to work there, And actually, my dad was East End, although he never spoke like this neither, but because everyone got educated. But that's what you got to do. You want to play. Cockney or whatever. So basically,
That was good. That was really good. I think we're all a little just starstruck.
So
here,
basically,
but-
Wow.
Go
so I
on.
go to America and I meet this casting director who says, "Look, I just want to meet you. I don't have a job for you right now, but if you could lose your English accent and play American, you will never stop working in this country." So I went back to my English. I said, "Great news!" And he said, "That's it. You're fired. I'm not going to represent you." So I came to America. No money, no work permit, no agent. Lived on the floor with
Badass.
mailroom guys. Looking after Olivia Newton-John's sister's baby that my father had randomly been the doctor for. We lived on the floor with a baby and no money, and I didn't have credit cards or anything. And then I got to play an Israeli tank commander.
Right.
Yes.
That's badass.
That's
Yes.
incredible.
Not the way it was played in MacLeod. No. And then the next thing I did was Captains and Kings, and I got nominated for an Emmy. And then I did every miniseries. I was called Queen of the Miniseries. So I always got to play different characters. The answer to your question is, I've always changed it up. I mean, I played Marie Antoinette in French and English. I played Wallace Simpson. I played Maria Callas. I played, Hazel Brandon Smith in the 50s. King
Did you have
David,
to-
Bathsheba.
For Maria Callas, I'm a big opera fan.
I had to learn the arias.
Yeah, okay. I
Yes.
mean, that's incredible. That
You're a
art
big
form is-
opera fan?
Yes.
Yeah, when I lived in
I didn't know
Rome,
that.
I was
yeah.
lucky enough to live in Rome, and I took an opera class on my study abroad. We went to 3 operas, and then I became obsessed with it, and I've listened to every Maria Callas thing ever.
And do you sing the Vakai? Can you do the Vakai?
No.
Well, so I
I'm
went.
just impressed by the art.
Well,
Yeah,
so
really.
I grew up with opera because my father was randomly loved opera, but he was the doctor for a lot of the opera singers at the Royal Opera House in England. So we would get tickets sometimes, sit way up, and watch the opera. And so people I referred to as Auntie Amy were the star of the opera. And so I grew up. I was a ballerina. That's what I started out doing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
yes. I danced with the Kirov at Covent Garden.
Holy shit.
But
amazing.
I'm the wrong shape and size. But I did actually manage to dance with a couple of major ballet companies, then injured myself and became an actress by default.
And you're classically trained as an actress and a dancer as well.
Yes, and as a singer, actually, although
Wow.
it was never my voice playing Maria Callas.
Oh, really?
Right. Well, but we don't
But you
expect
just
you to
had
sound like
fainted.
Maria
Yeah,
Callas.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I won the Emmy for that.
Amazing.
I won Best Actress for it.
So you're clearly underprepared.
I'm
in your life.
underprepared.
No, you clearly are.
Where do you keep your Emmys or the Golden Globes?
Actually, currently they're sort of hiding in my bedroom.
Okay.
Hiding.
Well, not many people go in my bedroom, but they're they're on the
I'm
shelf
picturing them
there.
like under the bed somewhere.
No. I glance at them from time to time. I'm very proud of them. I'm
should
also very proud of being an officer of the British Empire, which is quite a cool
Incredible.
thing. But I always would win a Golden Globe if I was pregnant, if I just had a baby. That's when I'd be nominated many times, but I always won if I was breastfeeding. And since I know I'm not going to have more babies, I'm unlikely probably to be nominated for a Golden
what?
Globe
You never
anymore.
know.
But you never
I
know.
bet that is not true.
I agree.
I think that there's definitely things in your future. But going back to your past for a second,
Yes.
because one of the first things that happens, you come to the States, and I'm sure you come with wide eyes and big dreams.
Oh, yeah.
And you show up here, and you are kind of sent into the lion's den by your producers, your agent. You meet with a big Hollywood producer who basically tried to sleep with you in order to have you get the role, and had to have a transaction like that. Now, I know that you don't talk about who it was because out of respect for the fact that this person has passed on. If the person was here today, would you say who it was, and would you confront them about it in any way? Because a lot of people are living in that reality right now.
You know, that's very interesting. I think I'm a bit too much of an English lady to get into that. What I do know is that the only reason I really talked about it, and was right at the beginning of the Me Too thing, was that that was kind of almost par for the course. And it wasn't like I was just randomly meeting a producer. No, I had already rehearsed with the director. They'd set up a date for the screen test. I mean, we were well into negotiations. You know, it was all happening. And the guy basically sat me down and he said, look, I've done everything to persuade everyone, now it's your turn. And I looked at him and I went, yeah, I'm going to do my best screen test. And he said, no, you know what I mean. And I went, no, and then, touched me and whatever. And I kind of kept moving down this very long couch. And eventually I just said, call me a yellow cab, I got to go. Well, I did do the screen test. I knew, of course, it was never going to work out. The next morning, my agent and another producer that I'd been testing for both knew that I'd gone to this person's house to the screening, and I'd been told to lie about it by this producer.
Wow.
And they just said, oh, thank God you didn't go, because if you had, you'd be in a compromising position. So the only reason I ever told the story was that, the people you think are going to protect you didn't. And I was just very disillusioned. But I did come back to Hollywood, and I did see him again, and he didn't remember. And he ended up actually hiring me without realizing it.
Holy shit.
So the moral of the story is I think you have to do what's right for you and your gut. I have a lot of friends who, made different choices, and they're happy with the choices they made. It just wasn't one that was going to work for me.
Makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
And go ahead.
I just had a quick question because our audience is really, we love fantasy, sci-fi, all that type of stuff. So you mentioned Sinbad, Ray Harryhausen, like all that stuff you worked on. Obviously, Bond. So they were wondering if you had any fond memories of either working with Sir Roger Moore or being on those fantasy sets or any.
Smallville, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I know. I can't believe people tell me I should go to these sci-fi things and that I'd be quite popular.
Yes.
Heck yeah. I think you'd be pretty popular anywhere you go.
Roger was very interesting because it was his first Bond, and he had a tendency to lift one eyebrow when he played the Saint, and so they were obsessed with making sure he didn't lift the eyebrow, which was impossible because it was his normal way of looking, and he also had to fire this gun. And it had pretty good recoil, and he was not very good at that. So he kept squinting every time he fired the gun, and he could not run. He just could not. He runs like a duck.
He waddled.
He waddled.
It's a hard life for us waddlers, okay, guys?
I don't know that I run very well either. I run like a ballerina. But anyway, so, Roger was dealing with all of that, and but he couldn't have been nicer to me. And I ended up, to be honest, spending most of my time with the AD department and the stunt guys. And those became my buddies. And so I ended up in some of the stunts, which was stupid. Stupid. I'm in that stupid bus when it goes under the thing. That was me. I mean, I am the size of an amoeba. I mean, you can't see I'm there. There's a little flash of red. Could have been anybody.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was stupid,
Yeah.
really.
Well, you've been in a lot of crazy situations before. And one time I was listening to a podcast in which you said that you died and came back to life.
Yes.
From somebody hearing that, you said you saw the white light, all of those things. Do you feel like in that moment you started believing either in God, a higher power, heaven, anything like that? I just, as somebody who's afraid of dying, I like to talk to people who have died and come back.
Hadn't really thought much about it,
and
but
figure out what's going on. Like, what's up with that?
Well, from my experience, and I have spoken to many people who've had exactly the same experience, including the late Christopher Reeve, what happened with me is I had anaphylactic shock, so my whole body just shut down. And before it happened, I realized something had happened, and my throat closed up, and I could feel my heartbeat was going way too fast, and then suddenly it was silent. And when it was silent, I just saw this white light. And I was completely peaceful, no stress, no pain, no noise, nothing, just this white light. And then I kind of looked down, I remember, and I could see me lying on this bed, half naked, with this guy screaming and yelling in Spanish for emergency and putting huge syringes in my butt. And I'm looking, thinking, that's me. But that's kind of odd because I'm me as I am right now here in this room. And it was so weird, but it didn't freak me out. But then I looked again at the white light and I just said, whoever, whatever, I want to get back in that body. I have things I need to do. And the funny thing is that all I cared about was raising my children and making a difference. I felt I hadn't lived enough yet. And so once they gave me the antidote, and of course I was then alive again, they shocked me back into life. I remember that there's only two things I would have taken with me, or left behind any way you like to look at it, and that is the love I'd shared in my life, whether it had been for a moment or a lifetime, and the difference I'd made. So it made life very simple. I came back and I was impatient to live life and absolutely wanted to avoid any nonsense, manipulation, phoniness, any of that. I just didn't have time for it anymore. Mm. So I gave those people, I call them my kids, like a wide berth. So you know what it is, and you go, oh, gosh, no. So I don't try to confront them and just say, oh, you're wrong or whatever. I just go, hi, yeah, see ya, and just keep moving. Because life's too short. And that's why I get excited about things like the app and like Open Hearts. Yeah. I think that's what life is. Life is communication, loving people, and being able to make a difference. And you just never know when that moment's going to happen. And if you're open to it, that's why I call it Open Hearts. You accept what the situation is. You open your heart and you reach out to help someone else because there's always someone worse off than you. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you have a purpose. And when you have a purpose, you have a life.
That's beautiful.
And so, do I believe in God? Or I'm not a disbeliever, but I don't, and I have enormous respect for every single culture that has its own, belief systems. Absolutely, that's my thing. Is all-inclusive rather than exclusive. So I'm not signed up to anyone.
Somebody
or anything.
Agreed.
You mentioned at the top
well
of that you spoke to Christopher Reeves and he had a similar experience. And we actually talked about him earlier on the show today because there's a new thing happening where James Dean is coming out starring in a movie, which is a crazy sentence to say in 2019, but that they're going to be doing CGI. And Christopher Reeves was one of the names in the article that they're talking about or that people have been mentioning bringing for a CGI movie, whatever that movie would be. How do you think he would feel about that as somebody who is a close friend of his?
Does his family get paid?
I would assume his
that would be
estate
the first thing I'd say.
If the estate agrees, yeah.
I mean, they do it with music. They, don't they? They do
the holograms.
And there's just so much amazing original talent here. Mm-hmm. Why not have it? But everything changes. It's like, should there be a female James Bond? I mean, people ask me this sort of same thing all the time. And they can CGI and make Robert De Niro look like a young man, right? So I don't know. I think it's weird, but if that's what you're looking for, it's basically another form of animation.
Right.
Right?
How would you feel if they did that after you passed?
Probably very proud that they would actually be bothered to want to put my face on anything of interest, and hopefully it'd be something worth looking at.
Well, your face is definitely something that is always worth looking at. Jane Seymour, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Talking about the Kominsky Method, which is streaming now on Netflix season 2. You're excellent in it, so everybody go check that out. We will be back after this break, guys, and we will be talking all different kinds of Batman news. I know you want it, so we will get to that soon.
Hey guys, it's Perry here to let you know that Movie Talk is moving. We've had a great time in this 3 p.m. Pacific slot, but guess what? We want you to start your day with Collider Movie Talk, so we're moving. 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get a longer show with some brand new segments, so tune in starting Monday, September 16th, 9 a.m. Pacific. See you there.
Hey everyone, John Rocha here, the host of Collider Sports Time. Well, if you've been watching us every week, we break down the latest and the greatest in the world of sports, talk about the big issues, the big games, all of it with a rotating band of guests like Matt Nose and Josh Macuga. We've had Taylor Bisciotti on. We've had so many great guests. Now, if you want to see more of Sports Time or you want to try it out for the first time, remember to subscribe to Collider Sports YouTube channel for all the sports goodness.
Hey guys, it's Reilly here. Let me tell you about the Reilly Roundtable. You know it, right? It drops every Thursday on Collider Conversations, and I have guests from all across the space. John Rocha, Gray Drake, Alexander Desplat came on at one point. We talk everything from movies, we talk about life, and everything in between. What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? It's the Reilly Roundtable every Thursday on Collider Conversations. You get it there.
Hi, I'm Koy Jandro, host of Collider Heroes, and I'm here to tell you we've got 20-minute episodes coming at you on Collider Video, on the YouTube, as you've always loved it. Plus, now we've got hour-long podcasts dropping every Thursday, so make sure to subscribe to the podcast because it's going to get even more sweaty on the podcast. Plus, every week, we're going to try to get some very special guest interviews, all of the people that help shape these movies and TV shows you love. So, video, podcast, interviews, all coming at you. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. Stay sweaty.
What's up, Collider fans? Ryan Satin here from ProWrestlingSheet.com, where you can find the top stories throughout the week in the world of professional wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan like myself, then you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not checking out all the shows we do every week on YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. In particular, on Wednesdays, we've got a SmackDown recap show hosted by John Rocha and myself, where we pick apart and talk about every little thing that happened on the Blue Brand. So do yourself a favor and go subscribe at youtube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. You looking for a Star Wars fix? Well, Rule of Two is that show. It drops on Collider Video's main YouTube channel, as well as on Podcast One's Jedi Council feed. So go over there, subscribe, share it with your friends. It's hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. We talk everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of deep dives and a lot of conversations that go all in. You know what to do. Subscribe, join us there, and rise.
Jesus. Hey everyone, John Rocha here, the host of Collider Mailbag. A new episode drops every Saturday and Sunday in your face and in your ears, answering the questions from you fans about the world of entertainment, film, and television. Me and great guests from our sphere do the best to answer your questions from Twitter, from Instagram, and of course, email as well, every Saturday and Sunday.
Hi, I'm Amy Dallin, one of the hosts of Collider Heroes, and starting right now, you can catch our show Tuesday nights with a new Collider Heroes and a longer Collider Heroes podcast, where Koy and I are gonna talk your ears off. You already know that's coming. So make sure to go to YouTube, subscribe, and find us on the Collider Heroes podcast feed for all of that sweaty goodness.
The Witching Hour is all over Collider right now. You can listen to that horror-filled podcast with myself, with Haley Fouch. We talk about witchiness, we talk about slashers, we talk about space horror, you name it, all on that show on the Collider Factory feed. And on top of that, you can find an article all about Witching Hour every single Tuesday on Collider.com. Check it out, get scared. Hopefully you survive the Witching Hour.
Welcome back to Collider Live. Still waiting on that wash gift.
No, we got
Then
it.
we got it.
We got it last night.
Yeah.
We
Where
got
was I?
two.
Where was I?
Well, you didn't check Twitter then. It's on Twitter.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It's there.
Wait, you're always bitching at me for not
No,
seeing
do you
the
know what
tweet.
it is? You have a blue check mark, right?
Yeah.
So I figured out the algorithm when you
Okay,
have a blue
what is
check
it?
mark. So if you don't check verified, you don't see people that like you unverified. If you go to your mentions, if you've never liked one of theirs or they don't have like, a certain number of followers, it won't pop up on your feed. You have to actually go to the tweet or they have to
Yeah,
like.
so thanks to Il Monstro for
Il Monstro.
For
Let me
the
see
Josh
it.
gift.
Oh.
There it is.
Also known as Il Monstro.
That's what
Yes.
Dorina
Thank
just
you
said.
for
Just to be
translating
clear.
to our English-speaking audience.
That is a great gift.
Okay, enough of this. You guys rocked that interview.
Thank you
okay,
so much.
You guys were awesome.
Jane
How
Seymour is like my
amazing.
girl crush times a bajillion.
I-
mean,
I was trying not to drool because she's so cool.
First of all,
and her
also, do you guys
beautiful
know she's never had any plastic surgery done? She never had anything done.
That's why.
And that's-
if you watch like.
I know.
Of course.
I don't want to toot like my mother-in-law and my mother are extremely gorgeous women that have never had an ounce of plastic surgery, and my mother-in-law reminds me
Grammy's
a lot
92,
of,
never had any
none
plastic
touched it.
surgery.
My grandma's never had it, and she looks amazing. But Jane Seymour kind of reminds me of my mother-in-law because like my mother-in-law's she's all about philanthropy and she's a painter and
Right.
she teaches horse riding and like all that kind of stuff.
she's also underprepared.
It's weirdly yes, it's weird enough. Like I would figure that my mother-in-law her would be friends. Do you know what I mean? Like Frances
Yeah.
Fisher was at my wedding. Like I feel like they're all in this
Love
something.
her speech
Got drunk
about
with
like
Frances
her
Fisher.
whole
Yeah.
philosophy on life, like after her
Nailed it
near-death
perfectly.
experience or whatever. Like that was I wanted to hug her because I completely agree. Like it was just so beautiful how she worded it. She's the coolest.
She
man.
also is somebody who clearly practices what she preaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I really appreciate, as opposed to a lot of celebrities will go out and say that you should do good for the world, but then they don't.
Right.
I hope I
And
didn't come across as like some dude that was like, I've been in love with you since I was 10 years old.
I don't think so. I think we all
I
actually.
think
I think
we
we all
were
kind
all
of did. I think
kinda
we've all been in love with her
drooling
since we were
emotionally,
kids.
so.
I'm glad that you like my webbed fingers and toes joke.
What did she say? She said that's a
She's like, I love that. That was
didn't she say-
so inappropriate.
Yeah,
But
so
she said
inappropriate.
inappropriately
So
funny or
inappropriate.
something.
Inappropriate, perfect.
Yeah.
It was. I was like, he's a swimmer. He can make those jokes. As if
guess.
what? As if that's like
I
me
have
making Jewish jokes. Or
I have
something.
swimmer friends. I have friends who swim. Is that
I like
Yeah.
Aquaman.
I'm not making fun of swimmers. I have friends who are swimmers. Okay. Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, that was so cool, man. Like, and then she's like, She's like, oh, I'd love to bring my kids. I'm like, please bring them. Please come every day. She's,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I love her. She's welcome anytime.
We've done a lot of interviews on this show. We have.
Yeah.
And, like, I love our interview that time with Todd Gardner.
Yeah, he
That's
was
one of my
great.
favorite interviews we've ever done. But this takes the cake. I mean,
Yeah.
way better than anything, obviously, Van Damme. I mean, I was looking forward to that, and then I was sorely disappointed. More disappointed than anything in the world.
I said yes.
Yeah.
I
And
said
then, but her coming in here and being how she was like, it was, honestly, for me, it's like a kid that grew up in Pittsburgh that watched Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman on Friday nights. Like, as somebody that, like, grew up loving Jane Seymour, from the James Bond movies to everything in between, to actually sit here and get to talk to her for 30 minutes was, like, really surreal for me. It was
Yeah,
really cool.
it was really crazy.
Yeah.
And she said to us out there, she was like, I want to take a picture with you guys for my Instagram. And I was like,
We're
Yeah,
going to
we're
be
all
on her
gonna we're all
Instagram.
gonna look like idiots just smiling super wide. I
She
can't
was like,
wait.
swipe up, it's like,
you're great. You're great. But we do have a ton of news to get to today, so I know that we could do 2 more hours on Jane Seymour and a love fest for her, but we also have Batman stuff to talk about.
Boom.
So let's just get right into it because,
What's the news
Reilly,
now?
we've been hit with some news.
We
that
have
I
been.
guarantee you, Josh, you don't actually... Wait, Reilly, don't say it out loud. Josh, what is the news?
are you guys really, you think that little
Cover
of
it
me?
up, cover it
You
up.
think that little of me?
What is
Colin
the news?
Farrell is going to be Penguin.
And...
And Matthew McConaughey is going to be Riddler.
Nope.
Two-Face.
Paul Dano's gonna
That's
be
a rumor.
Riddler, but
That
that
was
was
a rumor.
announced before.
Andy Serkis is
Andy
going to
Serkis
be...
is Alfred.
Thank you.
He got there.
McConaughey, big rumor that THR said
So,
nope.
so the actual news, Reilly,
Yes.
is that they're in talks.
Warner Brothers, thanks to Deadline, is reporting that Colin Farrell is negotiating right now to play the Penguin, and if the deal closes, he's part of the trio of villains that include Paul Dano as Riddler and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. So here we are.
So why are there so many villains?
Okay, so they're doing a rogues gallery.
There
Does
is.
that help?
Is that? I mean, I know what that term means.
Okay.
But I also saw Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know you're a fan. Amazing Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 3. It was like 37 villains. I thought that ruined
but
that
this
movie.
is more a team of villains
Got
kind of
it.
thing, and we don't know how much. I think they're setting up for possible spin-offs, future things with
Right.
these villains. Like
Yeah.
I
It
don't
makes
know that
sense
they're
with
all going to be
the
in
Joker.
a ton.
Yeah,
Rumors.
it could be something similar to Long
Long Halloween. That's
right?
where I was going.
It's a very Josh for those who
Not
don't
a
know,
big
it's
fan
a
of this
very
idea.
It's when Halloween takes place in the middle of the week, and so it's a really
Correct.
long Halloween.
No, it's a very popular comic book in the Batman lore that fans love, and it's basically it's all the villains that you can imagine. Not like Calendar Man or anything like that, but
dare you.
Penguin, Catwoman.
But Condiment King, isn't it?
Is he?
So is Kite Man.
And
Kite
he might
Man.
be coming with all the ketchup.
Shall
Remember?
rue the day, sir. Kite Man shall fly again.
Oh no, I got stuck in telephone wires.
The tree,
Cursed
the tree,
again.
the tree.
Oh, my arch
but-
Condiment
enemy.
King comes with
Wind.
the mustard to
Wind.
get you out. Squeeze him.
We meet again,
Dorina.
Wind.
Surely you jest hot dog and hamburger. Condiment King shall rule the day. Shall rue it.
I would watch
I
that
see.
if James Dean wasn't in it.
We meet
So,
again.
Guys, James Dean in talks for Kite Man and Batman.
Now
Okay.
listen,
Okay.
if you're gonna
Weird.
get me to watch
Stupid.
Kite Man, it better be a James Dean effing hologram.
Dorina, go ahead. So long Halloween.
Who is the casting person? Because holy shit, for this movie, for the Batman, because
Yes.
they are. I'm so happy with every choice. I mean,
Yeah.
Paul Dano, Zoe Kravitz. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright.
Almost got Jonah Hill.
So
Yeah.
here's what we will say though.
Favorite
because-
Zoe, Deschanel or Kravitz?
Kravitz.
Ooh, Kravitz probably. I like Deschanel though.
But I
like
did go to
Deschanel.
school growing up with a girl named Zoe Kraus, and she would be last on the list.
Okay,
so
cool.
she was perfectly fine. Just saying.
Just not your
I
favorite
just wanted you to
Zoe.
know I do like Zoe Deschanel.
Okay, got it.
So anyway,
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
We love a lot of Zoes here.
Yeah, love a lot of Zoes.
My niece, Zoe. Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you like me
all
to step on your
Zoes.
toes again, Roxy?
Yeah, please. But they're a little far this way though, so you're gonna have to really reach to jam it on my toes.
Okay.
But for Batman casting, Reilly, before we went on air, you were like, usually in talks means that it's a definite. But
Right.
I will say, for all things DC and specifically Batman, it does not necessarily mean that.
Well said, Roxy.
Jonah Hill was in talks for
Right.
quite some time. It didn't happen. Nicholas Hoult was in talks as well to play Batman. Obviously, we went with Robert Pattinson, who was in talks first. So talks could mean, but talks doesn't necessarily mean. Remember when this happened we said Alec Baldwin was in talks for the Joker movie, and Alec Baldwin didn't end up being in the Joker movie. So
Right.
there
Who
was
was he supposed to
it's-
be?
I think he was going to be Thomas Wayne.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it's not confirmed yet for either
So
the
there-
Penguin or the
Yeah.
I
Deadline
think he
is
was
saying
supposed to be Robert
negotiating.
De Niro's character.
Was he?
But I don't
Maybe.
remember
Maybe.
though.
Yeah, I don't
But
That
remember
would
just
make
either.
more
saying
sense.
that this happens all of the time, where people go from being in talks to no longer talking.
Well, we're getting a little bit closer because they say they are negotiating with Colin Farrell. So the talks have
and
moved
Jonah Hill
to,
was negotiating as well.
Right. So it can fall apart, but it looks very promising.
So
Let's
if
put
this
it that
is,
way.
let's talk about this as if this is the case.
Let's do it.
So, do you guys like this casting choice? Do you like both these casting choices, and are you surprised by either of them?
I was surprised about Colin Farrell as Penguin.
Same.
I wasn't mad at it. At first I was like, oh, that's a really weird choice. But because he's played so many different types of characters, I think he can totally do it, right? Everything from In Bruges to even the remake of Fright Night, right? He played
great.
this really cool Jerry Dandridge, and I'm sorry, but it's really hard to top Chris Sarandon, right? And he did a really good
And
job.
He almost
So-
did for me.
Yeah, he's really good. And so I'm actually really happy with this. And
Knowing
then same
that
with,
Jonah Hill was asking for 10 mil, or that's the rumor, and didn't get what he wanted, do you think that Colin Farrell is a bigger draw and somebody who could ask for more money than Jonah Hill, or somebody who would take less money because he wanted to be in the Batman movie? All of this being speculation. I have no idea what they're actually being offered pay-wise.
So this is going to be like totally Hollywood name dropper thing. I've been lucky enough to hang out with Colin Farrell, like a friend of mine. Yeah, exactly.
thank you, Cody.
Yeah. Let's be honest.
That
What
is
about
good for
James
you.
Dean's hologram?
Yeah, he and I off the 46.
I texted James Dean's
thank
hologram.
you.
I still haven't heard back.
You guys
and-
need to move on from the James Dean stuff. He's my
Oh.
friend.
And let's be honest, we've said it on the show a billion times and on TV Talk and everything. Without Colin Farrell, True Detective Season 2 is almost unwatchable. Like, it's almost just like a skip, okay? And that's
So-
coming from a guy that loves Vince Vaughn and loves Rachel McAdams. But Colin Farrell is like the most genuinely cool guy. He's one of us. All he wants to do is just hang out. And he's been sober for a long time, but he just loves hanging out with his buddies. I don't think that, like, a crazy money issue would be the thing that would keep him out of this. I think, honestly, he just wants to work. He loves working, and he thinks that this is an amazing project. I doubt there would be some money thing. He's like, if you're not paying me 10, I'm out. Like,
Exactly.
I doubt it.
I agree
when they're in
with you.
negotiations,
He did Fantastic Beasts. I mean, of course.
When they're in negotiations right now, then Josh, do you think there is a sticking point? Do you think it's a creative sticking point, or do you think that this is just classic negotiations? Sometimes they take a while.
Anything, like maybe Colin Farrell wants to have a say in like, hey, if you're going to do a Penguin movie, I'd like to be your Penguin. I would like write a first refusal, and maybe.
So he doesn't want what happened to Jared Leto to happen to him.
Right. That's a great call.
I also love that the Andy Serkis thing is cool to me because we're all used to seeing him play all these amazing characters with CG, right?
Yeah.
So even with he played sort of a Fox News guy in that Long Shot movie.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Yes,
with
I did.
Charlize Theron and
That was like
Seth
heavy
Rogen. But he
makeup.
had he had really cool heavy makeup that I didn't even know it was him.
Didn't either.
Until after I saw the credits. So I'm excited to watch him in a franchise movie without any makeup.
Is it crazy for me
him playing Alfred?
For me to think that like almost I would, if I was typecasting, and
Right.
that's why I'm not a casting director, I would flip the roles. I would make Colin Farrell the badass Alfred, and I would make Andy Serkis the Penguin, because I think Andy Serkis might have more of like a penguinish range. But maybe they're going for a new look on Penguin.
And maybe
whatever.
Andy wants to do just to play in similar to what's it called, Black Panther, right? Maybe he just wants to play like a character.
I get it.
I do see what you're saying in terms of Andy Serkis being Penguin. I don't think Colin Farrell would be a good choice for Alfred. But my thing with Andy Serkis
Why?
specifically.
Are you taking shots at me now? Jesus, hologram James Dean. Take it easy.
With Andy Serkis specifically, I'm really surprised by this casting choice because of what's going on with Venom. I just think that that's really interesting that he's directing Venom
yep.
too. And no, that doesn't mean he can't do this by any means. Just a lot of the times you don't have such major roles on
When are
two
they
different
shooting
aisles.
Venom in 2? Have they started yet?
I think they're getting close. I'm not sure. But to your point, Roxy, that might be why he's doing Alfred, because Alfred, usually is a supporting character to Batman, so not a lot probably in the movie, but maybe they're going to change that. Because I was thinking he was going to be a great Penguin. I kept calling he was going to be Penguin. So Alfred was a surprise. Maybe it's because of Venom 2. Right. He's like, he can pop in, he can film all his scenes with Batman in the Batcave, however they're doing it, and then go off and do Venom 2.
Doing all the franchises, man, because
I love that.
He's MCU,
He's
Sony.
Yeah, he's Sony. He's Warner Brothers. Yep.
Obviously Disney. It's crazy. Good for him.
He's obviously the best person for all these roles in these gigs, directing and otherwise that people like.
Like you just said, for directing, like he's going across the aisle, directing. He's acting, he's running the gamut right now, and I think that that's really cool, and he's such a great talent. I'm just surprised.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
surprised that he was the pick for Alfred, but really, really interesting selection, and I think that the Batman of all of the DC, Marvel, Sony, Star Wars, every nerddom slate right now, the Batman's casting has been the most spot on to me.
Oh yeah, it's
every single pick I have really enjoyed, and these two are no exception.
Yeah.
I think that they'll knock it out of the park if they are in fact cast.
Which is why I want the casting person to join my coven, because holy shit, like I said, this is one of the best.
Who is in your coven?
Yeah, who is?
You and Kate.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys can be in it, but you have to actually audition.
Well,
No, I'm not going to do that.
How do they audition?
This weekend when we're having our seance?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm good.
What's Josh's
You're not going to
audition
come?
look like?
Well, you have to come to the seance
No, I
at
don't like the
Reilly's
word
grandma's
coven.
house.
Yeah. She's coming to
Yeah,
my grandma's
we're gonna
house.
have a seance, and then we're going to try
we're
to talk
ghost hunting
to,
this
to
weekend.
Mark's grandma.
Cody,
gonna
talking
be
to
great.
you for a second, how do you feel about these casting choices?
I love it. I've never seen Colin Farrell get cast in something and been like, I don't like this. So I think it's pretty spot on, I think.
Alex, you're in on these also?
I love it. I think the biggest crime of Grindelwald was replacing him with Johnny Depp.
Thank you.
Burn.
Marzoña.
No,
said.
don't tell Frank you said that.
I also
Why?
think I had a theory that WB was waiting on what is it called, Richard Jewell, for that to come out and see how Paul Walter Hauser does. So
Is
I'm
Richard Jewell
surprised
their
that
movie?
they cast
it's
him
a
this
movie.
early now.
It's Clint Eastwood.
Right.
With one of the best
I was hoping
Photoshop
you would do
posters
it.
I've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah. They just put John Hamm's head in a crowd, and he's
Right.
just literally like, And it was like, bang up job,
it
marketing
sounds like
team.
we're all into this casting
Yeah.
now
Hells
and
yeah.
hope that it works out
Same
for
here.
the Batman.
Similar to Suicide Squad, though, for me, it's like at first when I heard, they're doing the Suicide Squad, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when I heard about who's involved, it got me excited. Same thing with this. Like at first I was like, they're already doing another Batman. The entire cast and crew has me super excited for this
I
movie.
can't tell you a movie I'm less excited for than Suicide Squad. Literally.
Yeah.
No,
there's-
that's not true. You're excited for Suicide Squad too.
Am I?
The
Yes.
Suicide Squad.
The
The Suicide Squad.
You're
You are
excited
Have
for
you
it.
seen the
excited
cast?
for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I saw
You
the
don't care?
poster. No.
But this is the
Fool
people.
me once.
This is
shame on
people
you.
like
Fool me
Condiment King.
twice. Shame on
Like
me.
we're gonna get Polka Dot Man. Like what the flying fuck?
Yeah, I want
But
to know
what
who
is
that
that?
David Dastmalchian, and we love him.
I know. I love all the cast members. I loved all the cast members on
Jai
the first
Courtney.
Suicide Squad. I even like Eyebrows McGee. I like her.
But why are you excited about the Batman but not the
Wait,
Suicide Squad?
Hold on, I'm
'Cause
not
it's
even
the
there
Batman.
yet. Who's Eyebrows McGee? Enchantress?
Oh, Enchantress.
Cara Delevingne?
yeah.
You love her?
Yes.
What's happening?
Why wouldn't I love her?
You
in
loved
the- in the
Enchantress?
No, I'm saying I loved all the actors and actresses. It has Will Smith in it, for Christ's sake. It has Will Smith in it.
It's almost like a Bad Boys movie.
It's not. It's not anything like a Bad Boys
The
movie.
soundtrack.
And you will mind
Let's
your
go.
tongue.
Eyebrows
Mark
McGee.
Riley, what other news
Wait,
do
hold
we
on real
have on
quick.
the
I have a
dock?
question, and I don't want to look at IMDb.
Sure,
and
why
you just
not?
need to answer this for me.
Okay.
Was Andy Serkis the boss in 13 going on 30 at Pose? Or at, yes, right?
Yes.
Is that the
That's
Jennifer Garner
that's
movie?
a yes.
Yeah.
It's
With
Jennifer
Mark
Garner
Ruffalo,
and Mark
right?
Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Is
what I
that
thought.
one of those water fountain movies
No,
where
it's
you
like
switch
Big.
bodies?
No, it's like Big,
Oh.
where she
Well,
becomes she's
sort
like
of.
she's
Freaky
older
Friday.
in a
Kind of. She gets older.
First
she's
of all-
still a teenager in an adult woman's body.
Shut up if you've never seen it.
I've seen it. I just
Okay.
didn't remember.
What?
You know I don't remember these things.
You should love that movie. Is so good. The movie is beyond good.
I feel
It's one of
very.
the best movies ever
I
made.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Cody.
Excuse me, can somebody hand me the talking stick for a second? Talking stick.
The conch?
Yeah, talking stick.
Conch?
Conch.
Yeah,
It's
I
actually
can stand
pronounced
that.
conch.
Really?
Josh,
Yeah.
I feel
What?
as if today you're being extra hard on me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is a hard time.
Well, Roxy, all I did
talking
was tell
stick?
you two things. One, you need to see 13 going on 30 to appreciate
I've
the
seen
perfect
it.
cinema that is 13 going on 30. Second of all, James Dean as a hologram is stupid.
Okay.
I've never agreed more with
Okay,
Josh before.
Fair enough. Mark Riley, what other stories we have?
Yeah, Kite Man, give it to us.
Kite Man.
Should
Wow,
we,
that's
We
what
meet
she
again,
said.
Wind.
That
should
is
we
what
have
she
the
said.
phone lines open up for?
I'm thinking in 10 minutes.
okay.
Yeah.
I want to open them now. I just
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll,
I
we'll
mean,
get
we
there.
want-
Let's
we get
get
there.
let's
We have
cover
news.
some more news so that we can get everybody.
let's do it.
Everybody in on it. Do you want to talk more Fantastic Beasts? Because there's a new article on here.
I do.
Okay. It's going to feature more Hogwarts and more Hot Dumbledore.
Oh.
In
Here's
a
the
course
thing.
It's
correction.
actually,
Dumbledore
as
again?
I corrected you the other day, it's Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
Let's talk about this.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. Question.
So-
who's Hot Dumbledore? I'm sorry, who's Hot Dumbledore?
So
Young-
mad at you right now.
young
Jude Law.
Dumbledore.
Oh, Jude Law.
Jude Law
The
as
only acceptable part of the movie at all was Hot Dumbledore.
I haven't
Correct.
seen the second
But
one. I refuse.
why isn't Michael Gambon or what's his name hot Dumbledore? The older ones, they're pretty hot too.
yeah, Michael Gambon and
One
because
guy.
they're not in the
Richard
Fantastic Beasts
Richard
movie.
Harris.
Thank you.
When we're talking about the things that can get me excited for this movie, which I've already let you know are no things.
Right.
There are no things that can get me excited
None
for this
of
movie.
them.
Not even
But-
hologram James Dean.
I will say no, not even hologram
no.
James Dean
Okay.
could get me excited for Fantastic Beasts 3.
Okay.
But what I will say is they should be trying to get some people excited. And the thing that worked about the last Fantastic Beasts movie was Hot Dumbledore. People loved Hot Dumbledore. They didn't like how little he was in the movie.
Correct.
So that's smart. And people love Hogwarts. So if they're trying to say, hey guys, we know we fucked up with the last movie and that our core fan base did not love this movie, we hear you. We're going Hogwarts and Hotties. Hogwarts and Hotties. I think people are going to probably say, okay, thanks for listening. We appreciate that.
I think
What's
the
Emma
only
Watson
people that
doing?
are
Why
gonna.
didn't she come
I
back?
think the only people that are. She's gonna be in Little Women soon, which I want to see.
She is not born yet. in
Oh,
this
right.
universe.
But-
I'm an idiot. My
But
bad.
I think
I knew that.
the
I'm
Harry
stupid.
Potter
Sorry.
fan base is going to see this movie no matter what, right? Like
Yes.
the hardcore Harry Potter fans. I still don't care. Like
Yeah.
if it's on TV, I'll watch it. Unless people say it's amazing, right? But it's probably. I mean, the fact that they're announcing this, they're feeding into the nostalgia aspect of it. They're like, come watch our movie because you're going to see things you're familiar
Because-
with that you
Okay.
already love.
The
Here's
two
the
other
thing.
movies didn't work very well for the fandom and for critics and whatnot. So let's put in Hogwarts
exactly.
and let's take Jude Law and promote him to one of the leads.
Mark, this is what it reminds me of, though.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Very similar sounding to Thor. First Thor, liked it
Gotcha.
fine.
Great.
Second Thor, actual dog shit.
Actual
so
dog
bad.
shit. Yep.
We got to
Dark
the third
horseshit.
Thor, and everybody was like, I don't know if I'm going to even see. I mean, it's part of the MCU, but like, I don't even. And then we
Taika
saw
Waititi's
it,
like, F you,
and
here we
he
go.
was like, oh, this is actually one of the best movies in the franchise.
Yes.
So there is hope.
Absolutely, there's
Of course
hope.
there's hope.
I
Yes,
would
but-
give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Go back to Hogwarts. Sure, I wanted to see more of that. I like knowing what they're doing back then, before Harry Potter was ever born, before Voldemort. We're getting there. They're dropping hints of Voldemort. I think we're going to get to a point where these two the two timelines, I should say, will now carry over, and we'll know more about probably Voldemort. But it screams a little bit desperate to me.
For sure. For sure.
And,
I think they know
Vimo?
that.
Like Vimo?
Everybody knows
I
it.
would love to be a desperate
Josh?
rich corporation.
Does anybody call him Voldemort like Vimo? What up, Vimo?
What up, V?
Any
Yo,
of his
V.
boys?
I don't think Voldemort has many nicknames, considering he is
Tom Riddle.
the boy who must not be named. Tom Riddle.
Tom
but,
Riddle.
but
It must be not be named.
Vimo? I don't think Vimo's
There's
one
a,
of
no,
them.
V-Dog?
especially because there's a
V-Dog.
BMO in
V-Mort?
Adventure Time. So,
V-Mort!
Vimo.
Dude, V-Mort! What's up?
I don't like it.
HP!
I don't like it.
Why are you guys-
HP
No.
to dick.
Why are you
Sorry.
talking about it like you guys found a good solution?
No.
We didn't.
It was not a
No,
good.
so moving
Cody, don't do that to me. Cody, don't do that. I do want to say though, because speaking of dog shit movies, sorry, that's a really mean way to segue into this, but guys, I watched something last night that I had quite a hard time getting through.
Are you allowed to talk
And that
about it?
apparently somebody else in this office did
I
not.
woke up this
this a
morning.
Perry thing?
Yeah,
No.
you know what?
No,
I
this
actually
is
think
a-
we need to get Rocha for
Get
this
Rocha.
conversation.
Get Rocha.
We need Rocha.
I'll leave.
I woke up this morning
Thanks, V-Mort.
to a tweet from John Rocha
Hey everyone, this is John Rocha.
raving about this movie. Now, I will say I sat behind him during the movie, so I had a feeling that he was going to be as obsessed with it as he was. John, okay.
I really am interested in
Yeah.
why
So
you love it and why you hate it.
This movie is Last Christmas.
Oh, I thought we were talking
I
James Dean.
gave you
No,
my
we're
heart.
talking Last Christmas. James Dean, I'm outnumbered by as well. But Last
Are
Christmas,
you with him being digital? Are you okay with it?
I think I am.
I'm too.
Oh,
What?
that
I'm
will
sorry,
be-
I yelled it.
That will be the last
What?
time that we
You know why?
agree during
you know
this
why?
segment.
Because once you sign away your rights, they have a right to do what they want with the project. And guess what? If people don't like it, they won't go see the movie.
Guess what, though? James Dean just took away a job for you.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did, because they searched far and wide for the perfect casting
I don't
for
feel
this.
like they took away a job from John.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah, I
they
would-
cast a dead guy after looking for other actors.
Okay.
Anyway.
I understand your frustration, and that's how I feel too, just
Yeah.
about something completely different.
Yeah.
Fine.
We go and see Last
segue.
Christmas last night, and it was seriously challenging for me to get through. I don't like to-
what is the movie? Is
Last
it a
Christmas-
romance movie?
Yes.
Like what? Okay.
It's a Christmas romance.
It's a
Okay.
Paul Feig movie.
Okay.
It is starring Daenerys Targaryen.
Amelia Clark.
No, actually, Daenerys.
No, Daenerys.
Targaryen, yeah.
She had bleached hair, so
Okay.
then we refer to her
Mother of
as Dany.
Dragons.
And Henry Golding.
Okay.
And this
that's right.
movie is supposed to be so up my alley, it's insane.
Yeah.
I love love. I love watching.
Christmas?
No, I don't. I'm a Jew, so
was
we
gonna
don't do
say, I
that.
don't
but
like
I love
Christmas.
I love like
Happy
Doesn't
holidays.
exclude you
I
from
love like
Christmas.
things like Love Actually. I
right.
love holiday movies typically.
Gremlins. Batman Returns.
And I went into this thinking probably other people won't like this movie, but I will.
Right.
And very quickly, about 15 minutes into the movie, I said out loud,
What? Why? Why? What happened?
Which I heard, by the way.
because it
Yes.
just was like, I know I'm not going to like this. And I kept trying to write that horse, but I wake up to a text message from you, John Rocha.
text message?
No, sorry, a tweet.
A tweet, yeah.
Raving.
I just love the
Roxy,
idea of you
did
texting
love it,
her,
Roxy?
rubbing
I
it in.
loved it.
You were raving
I
about
did.
this movie.
Why?
I absolutely loved it. I had such a great time. I thought it was very fun. I thought it's the best movie she's done since she's been doing Game of Thrones, and she has not have a good track record in the theaters with her movies. And
What
she's,
was that one about the guy who
Yeah,
ends up in
Me
the wheelchair
Before
and it was
You or
hot?
something.
Oh my
Me
God!
Before
that,
You.
that I'll give you this. That movie was way worse
Yeah.
because that movie was offensive. This movie was not offensive.
No, it was. To me, it's a very sweetheart of a Christmas film, and it's got a great message
about like kind of embracing your life after you have ideas of what your life was supposed to be
Wait,
and
what
what
is the
ends up
message?
becoming. It's about embracing your life as it is and being okay with walking away from things that are unhealthy for you and being and loving yourself again.
I thought it was about giving up on your dreams.
No.
Because that's really what it felt like to me.
Why?
You're saying walking away from things that aren't healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there was some, no spoilers, but there were some choices made by both of these main stars that I was like,
Woof.
what?
Wait, are you
the other main
are
star?
you not
Who's the other main star?
Roxy? Do you
Henry.
Roxy? Did you not like the story?
Yes,
or-
yes.
Okay, so it wasn't.
That was the bad
So it
part.
wasn't the filmmaking aspect, the acting. It
No,
was.
I didn't
it was
actually
more so
think
just
that the direction
script.
was great either.
Wow.
Which is interesting because I think that he's rad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I loved what's his last movie? A
Yeah,
Simple Favor.
Simple
I love
Favor.
that movie.
Simple Favor was incredible.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
typically try not to, when I see movies, you guys know I don't usually negatively speak about movies
Right.
on this show. And I probably would not have talked about this movie at all had it not been the fact that I woke up and saw your tweet and was like, wait, I thought we were all on the same page, but
Right.
John was laughing an awful lot.
Yeah.
Do you think that, is there a Rotten Tomatoes score on this, Cody?
Not
Yes,
yet.
there is.
Is
It's
there
at
really?
48%.
Oh, that's a shame.
Split in the middle.
Yeah.
So there you
That's
go.
fair, split in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bring up The Last Jedi. Never mind. All
And
right, go.
is this the
Jesus.
critic score? What about the audience score? Yay! Let's talk about Last Jedi.
So this is
Okay.
this is John, a movie you would recommend to people who
no audience score
what?
yet because we haven't.
Now,
it hasn't
hasn't
come out.
who
opened yet.
love
Yeah.
Christmas, who love, and who want to like. I think
So
it's,
not for me.
Yeah, probably. Not. I don't know though. You surprise me sometimes.
I know.
You know, but I thought it was. You know, for a Christmas movie, what are you expecting, right? You want to have a lot of
Gremlins?
fun. You want to. God, I hope not. You want to have a lot of fun. You want to like turn like just fall in love with the season. Like Love Actually has plot holes left and right all through it, but there's a sweetness to it that you enjoy, and I think there's a sweetness to this film that I really enjoy. She's radiant. Her smile.
You were
lights up
rooting
the
for her.
screen. Hell
I wanted to
yes.
sock her in the face.
Why?
Because
you
I-
haven't made mistakes in your life as a young woman.
Of course
Well,
I
then,
have.
what do
But
you want to sock her in the face for?
The way that she treats her family in this, which obviously no spoilers, but I was like, you're a brat.
But is she supposed to be though?
Yes.
Yes, I guess so.
Okay, so maybe you just didn't like the
That's her
character more so
arc.
than the story.
Right. She has
But
an arc.
I thought that the story was the worst part for sure.
Okay.
I didn't like the character, so that didn't help.
Okay.
She
So
went
you
through a-
just weren't rooting for them. Is what
Oh
you're
my
saying.
God, no! I was like wondering if there was the end of this was going to be that they all got hit by a bus or something,
Right.
and like it fell off so quickly for me because of some of the decisions that they made.
Interesting. All right. I like that because she had an arc. She was a brat, but she also had a very traumatic thing happen to her that she was recovering from. And so sometimes people go through traumatic things. They act in strange ways. They go into these depressions or they do these things that are self-destructive and they have to find their ways out. And I think that's what her journey was in the film. And by the end, no spoilers, there's, I think that it's a perfect Christmas message
So
about
there's
what I
act-
said at the end.
There's actual character growth.
In my
that you
opinion,
thought-
there is, yeah, for
Whereas
her.
you didn't think that.
No, I will say at the end, somebody in our theater yelled. Did you hear that?
No.
You didn't hear the person behind us yell?
What did they?
Oh no, I heard them in the back.
Yeah,
but
in the
they
back.
were yelling in a
Positive
positive
way.
In
In
a
a positive-
positive way.
What did they yell?
Well, there's something happened.
They
to,
were like, "Whoa!"
Oh, and there was another moment right afterwards where the same person goes, "You think?"
Yeah, and,
Right,
and
and it
people
was a
started.
positive.
It was one of those movies where, and this happened to me in Hellboy also. People started speaking out loud towards the end of the movie, and it's like there's some
Yeah.
rare movies that audience members no longer feel like they're at the movies
Right.
because they just start talking
Right.
out loud.
I think
Yeah.
Taken 3 is one of those. I was in a theater in Taken 3, and people were literally like, we all got together and just started like yelling at the screen and laughing at what was happening and just.
But this was
bashing Liam
50-50
Neeson.
yelling. This was half the people were yelling positive and half the people were like,
Right.
It was a weird mixed
the fuck
reaction.
you
So,
gonna
is
do now?
Last Christmas the new Last Jedi? Is that what we're saying?
Once again, this is a Christmas.
Yeah.
Cody's
this
like,
is a
no.
fun Christmas movie. Nothing else. It's lightweight. It's cotton candy.
Did
it's
you
candy
think
cane.
it could be
It's
on
fun.
Lifetime?
No.
So you think it's
Dude.
above Lifetime quality? Is that what you're saying?
So here's what's
The
funny.
Blind Side. That's Lifetime.
You were not looking necessarily
Yeah,
for it,
I-
and
yeah.
because you thought,
And
I'm
I
like,
was
what
gonna be
looks
bad.
like a Lifetime movie kind of thing,
I thought
and
it
you're
was
like,
gonna
I
be
don't
bad.
know, and I went, Paul Feig though, he's great, you know, and you went,
Yeah.
all right, I'll go. I'm happy to hear you enjoyed it. You, Roxy, I agree with a lot of things, so I guess I have to go see this.
I
for
need
myself.
you guys
to
to
figure it
see
out.
it
Apparently.
just to talk to us
Now
about
I'm just
it.
curious about
Yeah.
it.
Thank you, John, for your time.
Thank
this
you,
was
my
the
friend.
most civil we've ever been while disagreeing with each other.
That's
Well
the way
done.
it works in
Gone.
life. Yeah.
Character growth.
Will you
well
bring
done, guys.
Josh back in? Because we are
Sure.
definitely going to take some live calls. Let's open up those phone
Yes,
lines.
please.
But in the meantime, Reilly, anything else?
Oh, did you guys see the new Mandalorian trailer, right?
Yeah.
New
Let's
Mandalorian
talk a
trailer
little
dropped.
Mandalorian.
It's very, very short. You get just not a lot more of plot, I would say, more imagery, more, what to expect, more cool action. And I'm sorry, Nick Nolte as a Ugnaught is just the greatest thing coming to Disney Plus.
Wait, Nick
funny.
Nolte's in
Nick
Mandalorian?
Nolte is an Ugnaught in The Mandalorian.
Do you want to explain what that means to Josh?
So you remember in The Empire Strikes Back?
Yes.
Where C-3PO is blown up, right? And we're on Cloud City, okay? And then they start,
You
Chewbacca
don't
starts
remember
looking.
Chewbacca's carrying him like a
Oh,
backpack?
right.
Chewbacca is now going into the junk getting C-3PO, and there's these little dudes that are trying, and they're playing keep away with Chewbacca with 3PO's head.
Yes.
So one of those creatures is in The Mandalorian, and it's Nick Nolte.
Get out of here.
In motion capture.
Does that make you excited, Josh?
I mean, it's Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I thought the Mandalorians were just a legend.
You want to know what? I really
That's the worst Nick Nolte I've ever done.
I really like this trailer.
Great.
It wasn't that different, but for some reason, the way it was strung together got me more excited than previously.
I want to look up the cinematographers because
It looks
it looks
gorgeous.
beautiful. Like it's gonna be. I feel like this is like the new Game of Thrones in the visual aspect of it. Like it's gonna be a really cool looking show. I'm
Guys,
excited
it's
about this.
less than a week. We have 6 days to this thing.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. I
We've
like
been
those-
talking about it for
the
so long.
Sweeping shots of the sunset kind of thing, but then the up close of the characters. Nick Nolte's a little funny, but we're also you said it had some Terminator vibes, which
Serious
I
cinematographer, very
the
Baz.
score
Yeah.
sounded like Terminator.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
It had like some beats like dun 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 dun.
Do we
yeah.
That's
do we know
not.
who's the
similar
composer?
to this.
I think it's
Right there.
Johan Johansson.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's
cinematography.
fucking not.
Yeah, I think so.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. I will.
Are you serious? That's so.
Let's look it up. Yeah.
No, but he's dead.
No. Sorry.
Ludwig.
Oh God.
I was like, was that his
Göransson.
last project?
Ludwig Göransson.
Van Göransson, who did Black
Göransson.
Panther.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Wouldn't
you.
you like
I totally messed that
if
up in my head.
composers could come back.
He's a hologram.
Yeah, hologram.
If they could come back and
Johan
compose shit,
Johansson,
I am
I
all
would-
for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Cody, let us know when we have a call. We are officially ready for them.
Oh my God, that was.
Did we announce the pre-tape, or are we not?
Yes,
doing that?
so we yes,
call.
good call. So after this show at about noon, we are going to be doing a pre-tape for you guys for Monday, which we are going to be off for Veterans Day.
Correct.
So we will be opening up the phone lines. You can tweet at me. You can hashtag Collider Live.
Send us your
and
questions.
Send some questions. We're going to have just a fun episode that's all going to be about you guys.
From
so
12 to 1, call in anytime during
yeah,
that time.
we'll cue you. We'll send a tweet out from Collider Video and all our socials that with the number, and you can call us and ask us anything. So
Yes.
there's going to be an hour of that stuff.
Anything.
So get ready and get excited.
Yes.
Wow.
There we go. Okay, that was-
There we go.
You're on Collider Live. What's your name? Where are you from?
What's going on? It's Ico the Rayman calling you guys back.
What's
All
up?
right.
Ico.
Great to have you. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, two things. Well, three things, actually. Roxy, you're doing a great job steering the ship.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Co-steering with
And, oh, yeah, I got something for Josh.
Oh, okay.
The other day, you guys were working on puns for Fantastic Beasts.
Ooh,
Yo,
yeah, give it to
let's
me,
do
give it
this.
to-
Here we
rip
go.
it.
All right, so
Oh, no.
funny enough, no, this is actually it's safe.
Okay.
My friend released an album
Aw.
earlier this year, which was called Fantastic Beats and Where to Find Them.
Yeah,
So,
I did that. I said that one too yesterday. It was more of like a thing with Dr. Dre's beats, but also in accordance with Ruth Nega's Rutabagas. Fantastic beats and Where to Find Them is my neighboring beat farm.
I also saw somebody
Yeah, thank
tweet
you.
at you because of our Yacht Rot Love,
Yeah.
and they said Fantastic Fleets and Where to Find
Oh,
Them.
that's good.
I
But
thought that was good.
just curious though, you wouldn't let our caller have it.
What?
The Fantastic Beats.
No,
you
because I
just
said it
wanted-
yesterday. But that's okay. Hey, listen, man. As long as we're all in the pun,
Can
in the
I
pun
tell you
world,
though?
what?
You said it yesterday, but didn't you say that your friend's album dropped prior to yesterday?
Yeah, it was actually.
Logic.
However, I believe I sent out a tweet 2 years ago when this movie was coming out about Fantastic Beats and where to find them.
Prove it. Whip it out.
Kids,
38,000 tweets.
you're
But
both awful.
Listen,
Wait, sorry.
Both your dad jokes suck.
Go ahead with your one more thing.
Sorry, it's a little Family Guy
one more
reference.
thing. I was hoping you guys could help me out with this one. Maybe Cody could help out. You know how Disney has a bunch of animated movies that came straight to like VHS?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pardon me, like TV back in the day. Like, not a lot of people know that Lion King has a sequel.
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
Like the
Aladdin
Lion
has
Guard
two
and stuff.
sequels.
Return
One
of
them
Jafar.
probably has Robin. Yeah. Which of these animated movies do you think would probably be appropriate to adapt into a sequel for the live-action Disney remakes that they're doing right now, like Aladdin, even maybe Lion King, or whatnot? I know that there's a few of them, so I don't know if you guys are able to pull up a list and just see which ones have you seen or have you not seen, and would probably, be appropriate for a live-action adaptation.
Dee, do you have any?
Honestly, my first thought was Return of Jafar because that's the only one I really liked as a kid. But I
That's where I
haven't
was
seen
going.
many of the. Like I saw the Lion King one. I wasn't into that one. I think there was like a weird Pocahontas one. I also did not like as much.
Wasn't there a Bambi one or something?
Maybe. I feel like they've had all
Pocahontas
these
die?
weird. No.
No, but Bambi.
Well, not in the
Bambi's
Disney
gone.
movie.
Bambi's mom's dead. Bambi's alive.
Yeah.
Well, that we know of.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, true.
No, Pocahontas like tore shit up, man.
Oh, no. I thought she died.
Like
Why
in
did
the
you think
movie?
that?
I don't know. I never saw it.
Oh.
Too much singing.
No, I can't think of
Great
what the
soundtrack,
sequels
though.
were,
I do
but
like that one song.
I can't think of what the sequels were, but I do think that they might have had more success, not financially, but word of mouth wise, if they had done a Lion King 2, because the biggest criticism for Lion King was that it didn't need to be made because it's not
It's the
really
exact
live
same
action. It's
movie.
the same movie and it's not really live action. So maybe if they did that for a sequel kind of thing,
Right.
people would have been more excited about it. We'll
Maybe.
get to you, Josh. We will get to you. I know. Mark, any ones that you can think of?
Shut up, Mark.
and
All right, here we go.
Okay. just you know what? You're leaving, so I'll give it to you.
Fine, Josh. All right. I will say we have pulled
I've
up
said it
Josh's
a million
tweet.
times. The Fox movie needs to be made live action. There we go.
The Fox. Oh,
You
yeah.
mean
Fox
Robin
Hood?
No, Robin Hood with the Fox.
No.
Okay,
I
so
disagree.
Josh's tweet dated November 15th, 2018.
Yeah.
That's
I've said it once. I'll say it again. Dr. Dre not releasing a Fantastic Beats line of headphones is a missed marketing opportunity.
And then
So
I'd
there
like to,
you go.
I'd like to tweet out
Yes.
recognize Dominic the Shore Bum, aka @D from the beach. This, however, is probably the worst tweet of the night. And you know what? And you know what, Dominic? I will hold strong that you are correct.
you are right on the money there.
I'm nothing if not my own worst enemy. Knowing full well that a lot of my tweets are terrible. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't.
That's why I
if
love
it
them.
makes me giggle and it gets 20 likes, I don't care. And then I tweet out what's wrong with The Last Jedi and it gets 4,000 likes and 100,000 comments. I don't care.
I do love your strong defense over the fact, though, that you did think of this one specific pun, back in November of 2018.
I also enjoy any time that Josh starts a sentence with "I don't care" and then his voice gets that high.
Right.
I don't
Right.
care.
And you realize
I don't
deep down he
care.
cares.
Clearly
He
cares.
clearly cares.
few
He wore this
things-
pink shirt for a reason today, folks.
Yes.
It's because he
Hey,
cares.
Josh, I just
Yes.
realized something.
What?
Tomorrow's your official last day.
It
huh?
is. Yeah. I was just talking about
It's a
schedule.
bummer, man.
I know.
All right.
Well,
anyway,
but
let's
luckily-
take another call.
Monday
Cody,
will
let
be-
us know if we
For the
have one.
call.
Thank you for the call. Really appreciate it. Yes, it will be his last day officially, frequently being here, but
Right.
he will
Every
be
day
popping
being
in.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will be popping
Come on,
in.
we're
Yes.
we're
for sure.
calling you. I want it to be where in the world is Josh Macuga,
Well,
and
for
we're
the
going to
next
call
week,
you.
it'll be New York.
Nope. Okay, so you
is-
just really spoiled it.
Oh, whoops.
Because I wanted to.
I botched that.
Thank
Let's go to
God
tease.
for this caller. Caller, you're on Collider Live. What's your name and where are you from?
Hi, my name's Blake from Huntington Beach, California.
Hey, all
Hey,
right.
Blake.
Hey, Blake, what do you got for us today?
What's up? I am just commenting on the news about Farrell and Serkis for Alfred and Penguin.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to, I was thinking about how they're going to make Serkis Alfred, are they going to do an extension of what they did with Jeremy Irons, make him more hands-on with the tools and gadgets of Batman?
I hope
that
they
was
do.
something that was something that was kind of cool about Irons is that apparently Snyder said that he was former British SAS, and
Yeah.
that's why.
Well, that's what he is in
helping out
Pennyworth.
Batman with a lot of stuff.
How old is Serkis, Reilly? Do you have any idea?
50.
Is he?
Really?
I would say probably.
Oh,
between 45 and
I
50.
would say that he was younger than that, but 55. Wow.
See?
Okay, so I
Hold
think
on.
that
Andy Serkis's age.
You doubt
we
me?
already did it. It's behind you.
Oh, okay.
So I think that visually they don't need to do much with him then because Robert Pattinson, that makes sense age-wise.
Correct.
But whether he's hands-on or not, I don't think you bring Andy Serkis in, an actor like him, if you're not having him
Correct.
Doing a lot of stuff.
Was I the only one in the room that watched Pennyworth on Epix?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you
I
were.
hear it's great though. It's
great.
I hear it's great,
Coy
too.
told me it was fantastic.
Epix
it's-
is not a Pix that I have.
It's the only DC show I've watched, that I've really enjoyed until now. Watchmen, if you consider that a
gonna say,
DC
yeah.
show. Yeah.
It is a DC show.
Yeah.
What do you mean if you consider it?
No, I mean because I was thinking like DC CW kind of
Oh,
stuff, and it's not, you know what I mean. It's not like exactly
Right.
a superhero show.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
per
but
se.
Legion
But it's-
isn't either, but it's still considered a
Yeah,
Marvel,
no,
Marvel
no,
show.
yeah, you're right.
Why isn't Watchmen a superhero show?
That's a good question.
Good. I don't mean to make your brain.
You know,
think too
Roxy,
much.
sometimes I may call you stupid, but let's be honest. If we're talking about the stupidest in the room, it's me.
No,
I just
think
picture
we're
you,
both
the Homer
brilliant.
I
Simpson
think we're
gif.
all equally stupid, guys. It's
Thank you
fine.
so much for
No.
calling. Really
Yeah.
appreciate
Can you
that.
put a poll out who's
Bully?
the stupidest? Because I better win that.
How do
Let's.
Can we get Dorina on a poll?
You know, I don't wanna
Who is
open
the
up that.
stupidest Collider life?
Cody,
Nah.
dear God, save us. Let us know when we have another caller.
Roxy,
Mark.
dear God,
I-
save us.
I hope.
Well, I just heard from our guest that there probably is a God, so I'm gonna ask him for shit now.
Oh, okay. Good.
Caller, you're on the line. What's your
Probably
name?
does.
Where are you from?
Yo, this is Luke Nelson in New York City. How's it going?
Hey,
Luke.
Luke in New York. Love to have you on the phone. What are you calling about?
Yeah. So I guess that I have a Bad Boys question.
Oh.
Fuck yeah!
To the room, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
To the room? Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's just put it to Josh Macuga here.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Luke, what's up?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they planning a Bad Boys 4 as well after this one? Like, if it does well, theoretically, then they'll do a sequel, right?
Okay,
Dorina, you want to take this one? Or
Well, they've already actually announced a Dune sequel, so let's talk about Dune instead. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh. Go
We're
ahead.
not doing that. Okay. So when I talked to Joe Carnahan about Bad Boys 3, he said that it was such a process of trying to even get Bad Boys 3 made. Will Smith said the same thing. It was hard to get Martin Lawrence out of retirement, kind of a situation to want to do this movie. It was also a very, very, very hard sell to Sony to make this movie. And so I think that the reason that they were calling it Bad Boys for Life was they don't want to go through this process again. I think originally when they kind of announced this was like 2 or 3 years ago. This is like old Schmoes Know news.
It really was.
Was that they had talked to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, and they were going to do 2 of them, and they were going to, it was going to be part of a quadrilogy, whatever you want to call that.
That was nailed
That's
it. Yeah.
crushed
Yeah,
it.
that's
But I think
quadrilogy.
the reason they called it Bad Boys for Life and they did this whole thing is that this will be the last one we see because of how difficult it was to get it made. Now, I don't want to say that for sure because if this thing crushes, which I hope it will, everybody go see this. Hashtag don't see Doolittle. That's my new hashtag.
It's better than your previous one.
Thank
Correct.
you, which is a lot. Hashtag don't see Doolittle. Go see Bad Boys for Life because if this is awesome, and when I say if, I mean I know it's going to be awesome, but I think that
So when this is awesome.
when this is awesome, and we get a Bad Boys 4, and then they don't know what to name it because they've already named it Bad Boys for Life. It might
be crazy.
Yes, I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you because people would be like,
one should be Bad Boys for Life.
totally, I get it, man. Sony fucking dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Because what?
What's the next one?
Bad. Let's go.
Why
Seven.
can't it be Bad Boys 4 for life?
No, because this one's already called Bad Boys for Life.
The 4th one should be Bad Boys for Life.
Thank
That'd
you.
be
Luke knows.
the final one.
Luke gets it.
This one should have just been Bad Boys 3.
It should
I
have
have
been
a question.
Should have been Bad Boys 3 with 3 as the S, right?
Sure.
What if this
But you
was
needed that.
Bad? What if Bad Boys 4?
Wait, let Luke go. Hold on. I'm real. So Luke was. I'm sorry. He was kind of like. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Roxy. Go ahead, Roxy.
Oh wow.
Luke, thank you so much for
Luke's
your
part of the
respect,
show right now.
your time, your energy, your effort. I think you are a beautiful soul.
Look, answer the
Don't make
question.
me.
I
don't
love
make me-
New York.
Don't make me fill your seat with a Roxy hologram as James Dean.
I was
I'm not
going to
dead
ask
yet.
a question about that, though. Bad Boys 8 in the future, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith holograms. Would you like that?
No, I think we've perfected the
Okay,
art.
just making sure.
Here was my question.
Okay.
What if the 4th movie is Bad Boys for Death and they die?
Roxy.
Got Bad
Luke,
Boys.
wait, stop.
And
Everybody shut
I'm
up.
so into that,
Everybody
Roxy.
shut up. Luke, I blame
Thelma and
blame
Louise.
you for this one because you said no, go ahead, Roxy. And so Luke, you're a great dude, hell of a caller, but you botched it.
I don't agree with that. Luke, thank you so much for your call.
Luke,
we
great
really
call. You're the
appreciate you
best,
calling
man.
in.
You're
You
the best.
rock. Hell yeah, New York, except when it comes to sports.
But
Hope
yay
you
pizza.
fucking bust.
The Yay Pizza and the
But
Statue
yay
of Liberty.
to
It's pretty cool.
Pizza.
I also don't like pizza, to be honest. I mean, because of the
Broadway.
cheese part. So
You know, remember when I said I rarely call you stupid on this show? This is twice today.
it's not twice, Josh. This is definitely like the 7th time.
Today?
Cody!
Roll back the tape.
You are on Collider Live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Philip from Los Angeles.
What's up, Phil?
Hey,
Damn.
local guy.
So close and yet so far. Philip, what do you want to talk about?
I honestly didn't know who to get on here. I'm in my dorm room right now.
Nice.
Whoa, Philip.
Where
in
you going to college?
Doing well.
Yeah, so I was thinking,
Yeah.
there's the Dune 2 sequel that got announced.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I wonder why, like, it's so random. Like, I'm a big fan of his work, and the director's work, but I just found it so random for a sequel to be announced. Why do you think that happened?
Because
good
the
question, Phil.
universe is so it's such a big universe.
It's
There's so many
vast.
books. It's like you could do that, and specifically Denis. I will watch anything this man makes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about watching him team up with this cast. With I think they just switched cinematographers, and I was disappointed that Roger Deakins wasn't going to do it anymore.
Right.
But now
Like
they
for Dune 1?
yeah. But now they have, I believe, the cinematographer that's worked with Matt Reeves before.
Yes.
And so,
we're good.
So yeah, exactly. So,
But I will say
good,
that
yeah.
what was announced is that they are writing the sequel,
Right.
so that does not mean we're going to get it. It could mean that they're hedging their bets right now and they're putting something in development because if this thing blows up like I feel it should and feel like it could because it has a great mythology, then they'll have a script ready to go and we can get a Dune sequel sooner rather than later. And that's if this thing does very well in theaters.
right. And if Denis would do the sequel, right?
Guys,
Yes.
guys, I have really bad
Thank you
news
so much
you.
for calling, by the way. Really appreciate it. Josh, go ahead.
The Dune is going to eat shit.
Because of people like you, Josh. God
No,
damn
I
it. That
don't-
hate space.
You're not.
I'm telling you, it's going to bomb.
You're telling everybody to see Bad Boys. I'm telling everyone to see Dune.
I
Okay,
Because
fine.
Dune's going to be fucking
Bad
amazing.
Boys is
Now,
for an audience.
listen.
I
Dune is for
highly doubt
nobody.
what you're saying is true right
It's-
now because of many different reasons. Number one, there's been so many people excited about this. Number two, the cast is the most.
So many being the people that you talk to in the movie industry.
No.
Call Sky right now and be like, Sky, are
Sky
you
does
psyched
not
for
know what
Dune?
Dune is. You
Thank
know
you.
Sky does
She
not
knows
know
what
what
Bad
Dune
Boys
is.
is.
I'll
She
tell
knows
you
what
what.
Bad Boys
Did
is.
Sky know about Blade Runner? Because Blade Runner
Stop
2049 was a
bringing up
beautiful.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner 2049 is related to this because it's a
she didn't.
beautiful sci-fi movie
Right.
that bombed because of
Nobody cares.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, right? Like I think Dune
but
is
this
incredible.
has a stacked cast. A stacked cast.
Listen,
every week we get a new announcement about who's in this fucking movie. I didn't care about this movie at all until I was like, wow, everybody and their mother is in this.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Sorry, Timothy Chalamet does not sell tickets in Middle America.
Rebecca Ferguson,
He doesn't.
Zendaya,
Doesn't sell
Dave
But he sells
Bautista,
tickets all
Jason
over the
Momoa,
world.
Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem. Listen, I'm okay. I understand where
I
you're
would
coming
have
from.
sex with
John
like
Cena.
literally all of them.
Same.
I would say
at the
that
same
you're
time.
not far off, Josh. However, I would say that the books that people love, there is a big, huge contingency of people that love those books,
What
like
would
myself.
be a bomb opening weekend for Dune? 60?
No.
50?
What's that? Do we know the budget?
I don't think that would be a
I'm
bomb.
trying to look.
I think probably 30 would
But,
be a bomb.
but I know where you're coming from.
Terminator
because
guys did 29 million.
Correct.
Okay? Dune
But it-
is going to do about the same.
Now listen,
But
if this
but it's
thing
probably
comes
going to be a
out,
better movie, though.
it's all about the marketing. I'm sort of with you, Josh. I know where you're coming from. If the marketing does its job to introduce fans that aren't fans of the book and who have the David Lynch movie in their head going, "Oh, that's stupid. It must be a remake." If they show us Star Wars, if they get people excited that there's a mythology that's so rich and deep like Star Wars, and you see a trailer where you go, "Holy shit." I think we're having a different
I guarantee
conversation.
you this trailer will look a lot like Maze Runner or Allegiant.
Oh, God, no. Jesus. No.
I'm just telling you what this is going to look like, and I guarantee you right now this movie will bomb.
No.
It will bomb.
No,
It'll bomb.
I think
it could. I'm
not
sort of
saying
with
you're
you.
not. I'm not saying you're not wrong but I would like to be optimistic, and the team of people behind this movie is incredible.
I'm not saying the team of people isn't incredible.
And it depends
you know how many incredible teams are behind
it depends
things?
on when it's being released. It depends on how it does with Oscars. There's so many things that could make this movie.
Well, Dune is going to be
successful or
released.
not.
Let's go there. Hold on.
Let's go
December 18th, 2020.
Great time
it's
to be
coming out
released.
next year. No Star Wars movie. Okay. We'll probably have an Avatar movie, I think. So that could be a
I'm
problem.
going to see Dune instead of Avatar.
Oh,
so, yeah.
certainly. I will too. But
I mean, they're putting it out in Christmas. That's the only thing.
The only thing I want to find the budget on this thing.
Do I want this movie to bomb? No, I'm just telling
Yes,
you.
you
I'm
do.
always
Kind of
sounds
like a story, guys.
It's coming out the same day as West Side
Excuse
Story.
you, Josh. This is going to be a really hard thing for you to answer. But
And
let me ask you this question.
coming to
Let me
America.
ask you this question. Here's my question for you, Josh. This is going to be really challenging for you. Would you rather go see Dune or West Side Story?
To be honest with you, Roxy,
Oh boy, here we go.
Jesus.
Dune.
Oh,
Okay.
yay!
Okay.
Well done.
But
broke
let me
my heart
say the
all
other
over.
two movies that are coming out this weekend. That's going to split down the middle. You have Dune. You have West Side Story. You have Uncharted. Everybody wants the good video game movie. And you have Coming to America. There's 4 gigantic movies one Christmas weekend. Gigantic. People have been waiting. And at the Eddie Murphy renaissance right now.
Josh, do you remember when Bumblebee came out the same time as Aquaman, came out the same time as Mary Poppins, came out the same time as Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
have a
They
whole
all
week.
slayed.
Yeah, people have a whole week to actually watch movies
Did
there
they all
because
slay?
it's vacation time.
They all did very well.
Yes.
Mary Poppins destroyed. The other ones did fine.
Okay, fine.
Bumblebee kind of didn't do
Bumblebee
as well.
did not do as well. That's true. Bumblebee
because
did
they
do
missed
great.
because people missed it because of the Transformers.
Listen,
I love
I'm
that
with-
Alex is looking up. Did Mary Poppins slay?
No, well, she technically flew.
True.
That's
Did you know that my friends call me Scary Poppins?
That's pretty good.
Shocker.
Why?
Because I give them, stuff that
you
makes
come-
them
you come
happy.
flying in, not
I give
on an
them
umbrella.
a spoonful of sugar emotionally, apparently.
some
But it's a little
medicine.
scary as well. See, yeah.
What do you fly in on though? Not an umbrella.
Not an umbrella.
A cannabis
A
umbrella.
black witch umbrella with holes in it.
Yeah,
yes,
the-
exactly.
Okay.
Or more like what are the witch buckets?
Cody,
A cauldron.
I
A
feel like you
cauldron.
fly in
We
with a
have time
lightning
for
bolt.
one more call, so let's go with that, Cody. Let us know when somebody's on the line.
Kind of with Mark Reilly, though. Marketing of Dune will be the biggest
It's
thing.
it's
to
make or
sell
break.
it.
It's make or break it.
Yes.
Would you say it's doomed to fail?
Oh! Cody! Cut it! End the show! End the show, Roxy! No more calls! We got a pre-tape!
No.
We got a pre-tape! Damn.
Fine,
What?
fine. If
We have
they-
a call. No, we have a call.
Okay.
One more.
I'm so happy for this caller because Josh tried to destroy you, and I would not let it happen. Caller, you're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Brett from Tampa. How you guys?
Hey,
Brett
dude.
from Tampa. I saved your life. How do you feel about that, Brett?
Well, I will say the last few minutes waiting on the phone, that was some good camaraderie I was listening to.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you. What do you want to talk
You
about?
rock. That's
Sorry I
great.
yelled, Brett.
Well, first of all, I really wanted to congratulate you, Dorina, and Mark. I'm very excited for this new iteration and everything. And
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Appreciate
Brett.
that,
Thanks.
dude.
guys.
Really appreciate that.
My one question actually goes back to yesterday. So I know nothing about Watchmen whatsoever, and I was wondering. I know there's a couple versions of the 2008 movie. I think it was released.
Yeah.
I just want to know which one I should watch.
The
So I
director's
think
cut.
Director's cut.
I think you should watch the director's cut. It's the middle length one, correct? Because there's those 3 different cuts. There's the initial, there's the director's, and there's the ultimate.
Right.
And I think that
Oh,
the
is that what they're
yeah,
called?
there's-
Oh, so
there's
then it
3,
is the ultimate
so
then.
it's the
I
ultimate,
just
not the
feel like
director.
it's the ultimate.
The middle
God, I
one,
gotta
the middle length one is the one to watch. It's I've seen all 3 of them. The epically long one, just at the end of it, has Black Freighter.
Right.
And so I would go with. I think it's called the ultimate, but
Yeah, no,
it might be called the.
Yeah.
It is
the
is
ultimate cut.
So,
You were
but
right.
I actually still think the director's cut's my favorite personally.
I don't know
Because
which
that's-
one
Oh,
I
no,
that
saw.
is the
the
middle one.
ultimate has the Black Freighter. It's the director's cut. The director's cut is the middle length one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I just think
Director's
it's
cut.
the most satisfying cut if you're a fan of the comic book. But that's my personal opinion. I know some people were not
Mo
into
Comics, Mo Beta. Maybe that's why.
Boom.
Dorina. Yeah, I think that the same thing. This happens a lot. Usually, I will go with the one that is the director's cut, just in general, because that's what they wanted to be in there. And when you're in theaters, you can't go to the bathroom, you can't do all those things. When you're at home, you have a little more time to watch. Get up, get yourself to the bathroom, go make some tea or whiskey or whatever the fuck you're doing, and you have a little longer, more of a cushion there. You can watch it however long it takes. So director's cut it is. Josh, you agree?
Yeah.
Josh, would you call Watchmen a superhero show?
I think he would call it Watchmen. That was pretty.
Thanks, Cody. All right, guys. We are going to do a pre-tape right now, so if you're watching live, don't forget to call in so that we can air this on Monday and have all of your guys' great questions. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.